Even now, some 2 decades later, you can't help but ask, what was she thinking? What was it that drove schoolteacher Mary Kayla Torno to begin a secret affair with her 12-year-old student, Vili Falau? Mary said it was true love, but no one else saw it that way. She was jailed twice and even had 2 children to the underage Vili. But somehow the relationship endured. Remarkably, they're still together today. Here's Matt Doran.
What about these as parents? You've got some good parents here. I'm trying to work out where the looks come from, whether you've got mum's looks or dad's looks, or it's a mixture of both.
I think it's a good mixture of both.
Yeah.
For a brief time, this was the most talked about family on earth. Mary Kayla Torno made world news when she seduced her 12-year-old student, Vili Falau.
A 35-year-old teacher who had sex with a 13-year-old sixth grader sentenced.
Sixth grader. Sixth. It is a sickness. Yes, Zoe, it is a sickness. I remember this loosely because it obviously happened in the 90s. I was born in 89. But I remember hearing it all of the time. All of the time, this story came up over and over and over again. 34 years old. Bro, that's my age. That's my age. That's how old I am right now. And a sixth grader. Wild. See, it's not just men. People are crazy.
To 18
Mary
days.
Kayla Turno, the last person you would suspect of being a molester of children.
Vili is now her husband. Then there's their children. Audrey, born while
First of all, their kids are cute as fuck, but oh my God, can you imagine this is your parents' love story?
their mother was on trial, and Georgia, born in prison.
Do you kind of understand, what all the furor, all the interest was about at the time?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think I understand about it.
It was wrong, and I am sorry.
As we'll see tonight, this is a family still grappling with the truth of what happened more than 2 decades ago, and who was to blame.
No matter, what you might call this relationship, it certainly hasn't been fleeting. How long have you both been married for now?
I think this year was 13. Yeah, 13, and then 2005, 6, 7. Okay, yeah.
About 13 years.
13 plus, yeah.
That's quite incredible. Has that time gone quickly, slowly?
Time kind of just really flies by, actually. Yeah. And you're busy every day, so.
Well, you're busy. You're busy, very, very busy being parents.
Yeah.
I think
He was busy trying to get through middle school after elementary school. Bruh.
those years were so.
Roller Spice says I went to school with somebody whose parents were siblings. Twincest, incest, mincest, wincest, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I come from a background where everyone's first cousins. So, I get it. But also, I don't get it. I'm trying to end generational curses here. But I also know that I'm nuanced. And I know I don't need to demonize everyone. But I think here it is much harder not to demonize it since he was a literal sixth grader. He was a baby, bro. Rip. Oh, wait,
When
that's
you're
me.
moving through the school years, those went really fast, it seems. I'm like, oh my goodness, weren't they just 6 and 8? I'm like, whoa. And
See, when she said that, were they 6 or 8? And I'm like, what if they were 12?
that's what I tell parents. It's going to go fast.
She is trying us, ma'am.
And it's like every day matters. And because we have friends with children that were once our children's age. And
I feel like if you having a kid should be illegal. I do kind of feel like that's true. Only in the modern age, okay? Because there are, I'm very confused on how to, I'm actually confused on how to make this a rule since there are literally, cultures around the world that, marry children, but also married children. This is so, nuanced, including my people, in Iraq. Okay, I know you American progressives love to make act like the Middle East isn't insane, but the Middle East is an insane place, okay? And I love them so much, but like, yeah, a lot of my aunties, a lot of the women in my family were 12 to 16 when they were married off to adults. So again, like and they all stayed with their husbands and had good marriages and all had beautiful kids and all their kids love their parents. So we got to be more nuanced about how we're having this conversation. Raider says I'm just a bigot. It's true. This might be bias and bigotry. Maiden says you cannot fall in love in quotations with a 12-year-old. They are not even fully formed consciousness yet. Bro, she fell in love with his potential, girl. She fell in love with his potential. We've all done that. We've fallen in love with people's potential. Oh, that's crazy, bro. She's just crazy. Rock says she's always been trying. The same interview, she tries to claim he was in charge of the situation as a child. Do you know how many people I know who have had some overlap with people under the age of 18 and they will always blame that person? Always. Oh, they lied about their age. This is what they convinced me of. They seduced me. Girl.
Especially high school, it seemed to go by very quickly. There were so many involvements, their activities, and it just...
Alexa says human's gonna human. So true. This is so human of them.
Going from this activity to this activity, and here comes the homecomings, the proms, and it just keeps going and fast. And all of a sudden, what?
See, how do you a kid and then have your own kids and then have the audacity to talk like you're a normal parent?
All of a sudden
They're gone.
No,
Well,
really.
not gone. But
Well, it's funny you should mention that. You're on the cusp of a big life event as parents. Your youngest is preparing to do the unthinkable and move out, really. How are you coping?
it's natural, I guess. I hear like a lot of people, a lot of girls who turn 18, they kind of just leave the nest, and then if you're a guy, you kind of stay in a little longer.
Oh, I think the opposite.
And that's just what I heard.
Oh, I think the opposite. But yeah, our daughter was college bound, and now she has a different idea, and so we have to be patient with that. So she was always our youngest. We're going to be patient with that.
I know I was
She
out
wants
when
to
I was
take-
16, so.
Her neck looked pretty good, but her face be wrinkly. And I am curious. And look, she a kid, so I'm just gonna go in on her looks. Thank you. Is she overdrawing her lips? And what does this Karen hair do? I feel like why her neck looks so nice, but her face be so wrinkly. I feel like you would want to look younger to match your husband that he was 12, and you might want to raped when he was 12. So you might, want to consider. Because she was in her 30s when she did this. So, I feel like if you're willing to a kid, you should be willing to get Botox. I feel like,
I mean, guys are a little bit different. A lot of the guys I know, they hang in longer because they get the free rent, But guys are very basic like that.
I
Why not? You get free meal.
I see where
Free
you're.
rent.
I see where you're both coming from. All right.
And girls, they're a little more independent, a lot of the girls that I knew growing up, they were out of their house when they were 18. Yeah.
Well, give me a sense, Philly, if you could, of your upbringing, your childhood. You come from, fair to say, a very big family.
Yeah. My dad was married 5 times, and
y'all stop fucking with your kids and getting remarried and remarried and remarried. His dad was married 5 fucking times. Bruh, 5 times? That's what I'm saying. Y'all, humans repeat cycles, bruhs.
there's a total of 18 of us.
One of 18. My mom was one of 17, so.
Siblings. We didn't grow up all together. I grew up with my 4 full-blooded siblings. I eventually met the rest of them when growing up. I still have more to meet, but yeah.
He was probably neglected, had no one at home. They've done studies. They've asked predators, which children do you choose? They choose children that are lonely, children whose parents don't care about them, children whose parents will never ask how their kids are doing. They pick specific kinds of parents. Like they do pick certain kinds of kids, They pick kids whose parents are not paying attention to them. And if you've been married 5 times and you have 18 kids across those marriages, you're probably not paying attention to all your kids.
That's that's a sort of a crazy upbringing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot going on at Christmas or around the family dinner table.
It just stays simple. I mean, not everyone gets a Christmas gift, but yeah, just close relatives, you know.
Yeah, Mary, what about you? What about your background and your upbringing? Tell me a bit about your family.
All right. So, my father was married once. Just saying. Where are we going?
And tell me a bit about your father.
I have a mother my father's passed away, and I have 6 siblings.
Pretty big family.
Five still living.
Was it a Catholic upbringing for you, Mary?
Yes.
And what did that involve? How kind of devout, how traditional was your family in that regard?
For me, it's just a beautiful heritage.
Predators end up where kids are. Predators end up where kids are. So every person that works with kids, and you're all like, that's so sweet of them. I'm looking at them like, are you a fucking predator, bro? Predators pick jobs with kids. So remember, every time you want to be like, oh, all teachers are so great, one of those teachers your kids. Oh my God, summer camp people are so nice. One of them your kids, bruh. Okay? Oh my God, that's so sweet. You volunteer at a kid shelter. One of them your kid, bruh. Which one is it, bruh? Oh, you became a pediatrician. Which doctor's your kids, bruh?
If someone put a certain doctrine in front of me that was Catholic, said, what do you think of this? It doesn't mean a lot to me. The roots of the Catholic Church, which is really just the core of Christianity. People think there's a difference. Really? No,
And
there
that could be a
No,
whole
there
separate
isn't.
lengthy discussion.
No, I'm just saying, no, there isn't. You know, it's...
As a former Catholic myself, man, we wild, bruh. We're so wild. Look at her trying to coach us on Catholicism. Next, she's going to coach us on how to flirt with 12-year-olds, bruh. She's like, ask them if they like Transformers, bro. She'd be like, do you like Transformers? I love Transformers.
Let me ask you about you two. When did you first meet Billy?
Meet? Well, I met his brothers and older sister before I met him.
Bruh. When I went to public school, we had like favorite teachers, and Farm Brother had a favorite teacher. We all had the same favorite teachers that we really liked. And those teachers like knew us for so long and we loved them so much. Even though I only went to school for 2 years, like I just loved my teachers. They were always so good with boundaries, always so good with safety. They were always so good. And I couldn't even imagine finding out one of those teachers that I loved raped my sibling. I would be so upset, bro. I would be so upset.
So there are 4 in his family. And then the first time
Yeah, why do they do these interviews, guys? Like, are they doing it for a reason? Like, are they just doing it for the money?
I was familiar with the name Billy Fula'au. Gosh, I don't know, 1989, 88, not sure.
Was that when you were here, his year 2
He
teacher?
was one of my students back then. I hardly remember. Of course, I remember his name. So, and I knew the Fula'au family because I knew the other siblings. So,
Do you think she's brain dead, bro? It could be the cancer. She dies of cancer later. Do you think like maybe her cancer's in her brain? You think when she talks, he just like sits like this and just like doesn't look at his face, like, bro, look at this face. Just like deadpan. Honestly, I don't know if this is inappropriate, but he's like super attractive. You know what? I get it. Like, but also you met him when he was 12. Like, okay, he's only attractive now. If she had gone with him now, it still would have been weird because of the age gap. But I get it now. Like, he's very handsome. But like 12? Like, What is this? Is she fucking fucked up in her head, bro?
This will be a test of your memory, Villy. I mean, you would have been 8 or so back then. Do you have any memory of those years?
He's
I
told
have
me.
like, not really like good memories, but some of them are just random, just pretty much random stuff.
What sort of memories?
Like I remember hiding in the closet. There was a closet in the
Oh, no.
in the classroom, and then me and my friends, we used to be in there hiding in the classroom.
From Mary?
Why don't you say what you were doing hiding in the
We were
closet?
just hiding in the closet.
No, what did you tell me you were doing?
That's weird to talk about right now.
Which only makes me want to know about it even more. Go on, Mary. What was he doing in the closet?
Oh,
It's
this
just
is
really-
what you said to me is like, yeah, we'd hide in the closet and we'd hope you'd walk past so we could look under your skirt.
The Lord is testing me today, kids. The Lord is testing me today. Aren't these 8-year-olds? She's talking about 8 years old. Oh, I feel dizzy. The Lord is testing me. Oh, bro, I'm going to catch a case and this woman already dead. Bro, this woman is literally dead. I'm going to catch a case. This is my bias and prejudice. When you fuck with a kid, bro, I'm not going to lie. My brain, like, I become like a wild animal, bro. This is an 8-year-old kid she's talking about, right?
I'm like, what the heck? I mean, who's like tells like years later, like
She's blaming. She's setting it up, right? To blame him. She's setting it up, right? She's going to say like, oh, he was 8 years old and he wanted to be with me. Like she's setting him up, right? To blame him. To be like, I'm a victim. He hit on me when he was thinking about me at 8 years old and he was thinking about me at 12 years old. You're the adult. Kids are just going to explore and have crushes. You're the one who has to shoot down the crush, you dumb bitch. Discord, you're so sweet. Do you need to grab a snack, a drink? No. I'm here. I'm going to suffer through this with you guys. Oh, man. She's so flattered. Yes, Ania. It's like she's she's humble bragging. She's like, an 8-year-old found me attractive, and I ended up marrying him one day. Fuck. The world does not deserve my babies, bro. Fuck you. The world does not deserve my babies, bro. The world's fucked, bro.
is that what you told? It is what you told me.
Does that make you feel better?
No,
Does that make you feel better for raping me? Does it make you feel better for raping me? Guys, please like this stream. I'm absolutely getting demonetized for this stream. Please like the stream, guys. Because I'm absolutely getting fucked over this stream. Holy shit. When I put this clip up, I might have to edit out all these words. Oh, it's going to take forever.
I'm just saying.
Do I need to pause for mediation here?
No, I'm just saying. It was like, what does he remember? That's what he told me he remembered. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, right.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah. There's also like 2 or 3 girls in there that liked me, and I used to get like these weird messages from them, like little notes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Discord says this woman must have a wound from childhood. Oh, it's deep, bro. If she was born with the predisposition, right? And then she became a teacher to be around that predisposition, to be around her attractive thing. And then it was a whole thing, like, yeah, like obviously, like a deep look, being interested in a child when you're in your 30s, for a 34-year-old to have sex with a 6th grader, like, sis, something's wrong, bro. Like, something's wrong, bro. And so that's the thing, is like, something is wrong. And that's why I say, like, I understand this desire to be really, really nuanced and to say, like, oh, because, like, you can't just do this. It's the same way I feel about homelessness. You cannot end up homeless on the side of the street with gashes and mold growing from your own body because of infection. And there's not something wrong, right? Like, there's something wrong. Because, like, that's not what you do. So something went wrong. What went wrong? And so obviously something went wrong. The dilemma is her wrong directly impacted a person. Though, even though they got married and had kids, years later. Oof.
I had no idea there were closet. The closet spanned the whole side of so it's not like just for the visual. And there were these big, giant, like from bottom to top, the doors
What attracted you to teaching initially, Mary?
I just found myself. I was originally in the School of Music in college and always had the music background. And I found myself music and dance. As much as I enjoyed it, and I believed that I knew I was good, found I was an A at teaching. Because even the professors at college, they was like, oh, will you take this group over here? They recognized, and even prior to that, prior to getting to college, I was coaching this and choreography, and I realized that.
Actually, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Rock says every time he asks her a question, she starts telling a 5-minute story that's nothing to do with anything. I see this pattern in predators. I see this pattern in very traumatized predators, but I especially see this pattern in predators that like are ashamed or guilty and they don't want to think of themselves as bad people. Because predators that are like totally fine with what they've done, they just love to hear themselves talk about like what they did. But she tends to tell a story about how good of a person she was or how good at school she was or how good as a teacher she was. So it sets a different precedent. Now we're starting to hear words like I was good. And I'm like, oh, she thinks of herself as like a good person. But I see this pattern in a lot of predators and it really pisses me the fuck off. But also a part of me is like how I separate my predators into categories. The predators that are willing to brag about it, they're my psychopath sociopaths that I'm like, okay, like you just have no qualms with what you did. But she is going into the other category, which is what is her victimhood? How was she fucked over growing up from her own brain? She's obviously very ashamed. So what is that from? Who is she feeling ashamed from? She didn't feel ashamed enough not to act on her impulse or her desires. So where is that coming from? Maybe just Catholic guilt. Maybe it's just Catholic guilt.
You know what? I'm a B in music and dance. I'm a B. Good. That's good. Nothing wrong with a B. But I was an A at teaching, and everybody recognized it, and I've soon recognized for myself that I was really an A.
What made you an A at teaching?
I think just being tuned in to a lot of good listening and being aware, and how about just really making clear what the objective is and setting the goals, adjusting them along the way as the learning or the gaps are showing, knowing how to adjust things and
Yeah, how do you think the interviewer feels? Do you think like he's doing a really good job at keeping it cool? Like my face is like, who he like how do you think he's feeling? Do you think like he has kids and he's thinking about his kids? Oh, bro. Could you even imagine? Ooh.
bringing in the resources, and it just was natural, very natural.
Can you remember back, Villy, to being a student? Was Mary a good teacher?
He asked that question with such a straight face, bro.
I remember all the kids really tuned into what she was saying. Yeah, I don't really know what to look for and what a good teacher, what a good bad teacher is. For me, a good teacher would keep my attention. And a bad teacher would be someone who talks, where it's like kind of monotone, where it's kind of like, just kind of fall asleep while the teacher's talking, which just happened a lot of times in middle schools.
Well, it's fair to say Mary had your attention, I believe. What? This is a tough question. What first attracted
I need to go to therapy after this, bro.
you to Mary? Can you remember?
She was pretty, and yeah, I think that was it. And then, And then, I don't know, I kind of like that she drew a little bit. She taught some art stuff, and I thought that was kind of cool. And then I think like in 6th grade, we kind of connected on certain things. Kind of like saw common views on stuff.
In the 6th grade, we had common views on stuff. A 34-year-old and a 12-year-old. They had similar views on stuff. This is what I'm saying. When men who are like 40, 50, 60 being like, I just feel like she's really mature for her age and we connect on so much. And she's like literally 18. I'm like, what is happening? What is happening? What is happening? I feel like I've taken crazy pills. What is happening? I literally feel like I'm Will Ferrell in Zoolander. What is happening?
Life and
Similar interests.
yeah. So
Mary, when did you first realise I have feelings for a student?
Probably, well, first of all, he wasn't my student when any, which I think is really important.
Yeah, that changes so much, girl. You're right, girl. That changes everything. My bad. My bad, girl.
Here, it was very important for here in the United States, in the state of Washington, it was really important for it to be put out, I guess politically in a lot of legislation. It was important to portray it as if it was a student-teacher relationship, but it really wasn't. So even though once upon a time, even you ask, well, when did you first? Well, I feel kind of awkward answering that because it's sort of wanting to connect it to this was a student-teacher relationship, and which is really big in law.
The Lord is trying me today, bros. The Lord is. Ooh, let me have 5 minutes with her, bro. Let me have 5. I mean, she's dead already. She's dead, but ooh, let me have 5 minutes with her. Ooh, I'm just gonna. Ooh, I'm gonna. Like, okay. Human's gonna human. This is a part of the population that has and is among us. Okay, it's like walking among us. What do you do to protect your kids? What do you do to protect yourself? Like, what do we do if you're related to this person? Y'all, what if somebody you're related to or married to is actually this person? When I watch I don't watch a lot of the videos because it makes me really upset, but the guys who like bust down PDF files and they like catch them in the act and they're like married and their wives find out, like the wives find out and they're like, what the fuck? Could you even imagine I would be shook, bro. Like, it's like terrifying, right? And I already know people in my life. Like I said, I have a very like complicated background with like age gap relationships, and I'm not a fan of them when the younger person is young. I know everyone is literally always like, Brittany is so biased against age gap relationships. Hello? Hell to the fucking hello? I'm not talking about 17-year-olds and 19-year-olds, bro. He was 12. She was 34. 17-year-old kids with 50-year-old people. Hello? What are we talking? Why are you acting like I'm the crazy one? You fucking bitch. The internet's always trying to gaslight me like I'm the crazy one. Y'all, your bubbles are crazy. Tell me what bubble it is so I don't hang out in it. You feel me? Bro, y'all trying to convince me like I'm the crazy one? Why are you 50 hanging out with 17-year-olds, bro? Why are you fucking 40 hanging out with 17-year-olds, bro? Bro, what are we even talking about? What are we even talking about?
And doesn't matter, coach, teacher,
I think she's
supervisory.
basically saying it was like sometime.
It was after. So I am saying
Summer.
that. I was taking college classes for my continuing education, for my certification in teaching. You have to have it every 5 years. You got it.
Yes, good job, lady. We know. Hannah says, I had a friend who ended up being a PDF file and confessed to me. He turned himself in the next day and he got 25-year prison sentence. Damn. Damn, bro. That's heavy. I feel like I would love to work with people before they offend, obviously, because it must be so difficult to be born that way or to have this problem or to have this predisposition. But you gotta avoid the kids, bro. It's like, ooh. And then you gotta warn your kids, bro. You gotta, like, I know it sounds like intense. I don't know about you, but I grew up with a mother that warned us about predators. She did. She told all of us, like, adults who want alone time with you are not okay. Because obviously, like, we have a lot of stories, okay? But it was one of those things, too, where, like, they also couldn't handle it if people, like, oh my gosh, I have stories about people that we know, like, family and friends, who ended up being outed, either as older teenagers or older adults. And it's one of those things where, like, my mom always told us we were allowed to say no to adults who wanted alone time with us. And that's why my mom doesn't care if we're rude. Even though she wants us to be good-mannered to adults, she also told us, like, adults who want alone time with you, never okay. Never be alone with an adult unless it's, like, somebody who, and she would name who was appropriate, right? But I know that seems like a heavy conversation for a lot of adults to have with their kids. But genuinely, it gave me a lot of agency as a kid to feel like, no, I'm not going to do that, even if you want me to. No, like, I'm not going to do that. And I think I probably still have that stubbornness now because I know how many people are just waiting for an opportunity to take advantage of you, bro. People be wild out here. They just be wild out here.
Update. So, or else they pull your certification. So, and the same in a lot of industry professions. You have to do continuing education.
Wow, thanks, girl. We do not care.
Classes. He was also in a class at the same college. So for summer, so yes, it was summer school, but it was a class in the summer.
Let me ask you, Villy, in a different way. At what point did this morph, I guess, from teacher and former student to boyfriend and girlfriend?
Just a friendship, really, and then
Adults who are friends with kids, also a red flag. We had that conversation in my VC. I don't remember what brought it up. But adults who want to be friends with kids and not in a mentor sense. That's why mentors have to be like very specific kinds of relationships. That's why when you go from mentor to like spousal relationship, I always like raise an eyebrow. Not that I'm accusing every person with this dynamic is bad, but I do think I raise an eyebrow at it. But like friends who have, or adults who have kids as friends, I'm like, what's happening here? What's this? What's going on? What are you doing? What's going on? What do you guys have in common? What are you hanging out? And don't get me wrong. I know it's nuanced. I know it's weird. I know a lot of people have a lot of different bubbles in the world. So, okay, I'm open to it. But what is a friend? What do they look like? Are they your cousin? Do you just know them because of family friend outings? Like, what are you doing? But in this instance, what would they ever have to connect on? She's 34. What do you need to have a 12-year-old friend for? You're 34. Yeah, like Colleen. Exactly, Roller Spice. Like fucking Colleen. What do you need teenage friends for? What is going on? What is going on? Like, what is going on?
during summertime, things just got a little closer. And
Wait, true. Sage says I was essayed as a child by an older child. Children aren't even safe from kids around them because there's corruption that goes on and kids are likely to enact their trauma with others. I've heard it. I've seen it. I've known it. Well, I haven't known it. That was wrong. Sorry. That sounded like I was a victim. I'm not claiming that, but I've seen it with friends and family. It's absolutely a real thing. And it's so sad. It's sad for the kids who are the predators because I don't even know if they are predators. That's what's so confusing. Are these kids predators or were they victims? And in my instance, I know a victim of child SA who became a predator as an older teenager to children as young as like 5 and 6. And when I think about that, it's hard to discount their trauma and assume that they were repeating a cycle. But it's also devastating because the parents were also not doing their due diligence, and the people in that environment were not thinking about protecting kids. They were not thinking about it in that capacity because they didn't think that, well, you know how it is. It's always like family or friends or somebody you've known. So it's kind of like you assume everyone is safe, but like that's the thing. It's like, how do you know people are safe? I think that's an interesting question to ask ourselves too, not even in this capacity, but in general. How do you know when someone is safe? How do you know someone's your friend? How do you know someone knows what that means? How do you know someone? It's usually because their values are predictable because they're the same as yours. But if somebody doesn't share your values, they may react differently. Or more than that, they might discount kind of an issue with some things. Like, look, I know we're all bubbles. I know we're evolved animals. That's my belief. I know it's complicated and nuanced. And I know not every single person in an age gap relationship is literally a predator or a victim. I know that. I know that. But I will say that it is hard for me not to raise an eyebrow at it because I feel like if you really asked those people a lot of questions, it would unravel some sort of truth that is harder to swallow than we'd like. I do think that. But, whatever. And I get it. You're right. Who said that? A beautiful little fool says you don't. You have to trust and work off the experiences you have with them. True. You do. You have to wing it. And sometimes you'll make a mistake and sometimes you'll get hurt.
There was some, I don't even know how to say it, dramatic stuff going on, drama.
His voice is so low. The audio is turned up on every device I have right now. But he keeps going lower and lower, and I wonder if that's a trauma response. She gets louder, and we're like, and he gets quieter. You notice that?
Really? What?
There was plenty of dramatic stuff going on.
I don't know. There was a lot of things that kind of just led to us kind of connecting on a deeper level, and then it got even more wild, crazy once the police found out and her husband found out. And
oh, she was married. Oh, she had an affair. I get it. She was married. Ew. Oh, her poor husband, bro. What a devastating,
I think we spoke to each other as if in that summer we felt like it was boyfriend, girlfriend. And that's why, I guess that's what there wasn't a teacher, when you consider we were in the same college, we both took an art class at the same college, and I think it felt really great. I'm just saying it felt great because we were so close as friends, and then just to not be his teacher in any capacity, and to be friends, and to be working on the same projects just on the same.
My boy's zoned out, bro. My boy's zoned out. What is this? His facial expressions are wild. Just, what is this? What is this? Yeah, he looks dead inside, Lakara. Same. Like, what is this?
Same level. It just felt great. And just saying, I don't know what was dramatic going on, but I mean, inside of us, probably, yeah. When when we realized, I don't know, you called me your girlfriend.
I did.
Yeah, you did.
It's best not to argue. It's best not to argue, Billy. This is my experience.
Now it's my husband. Yeah.
When Mary did Billy make it clear to you that he was interested in you physically, sexually, I guess? Can you remember that moment? You must remember that moment.
I just remember, yes, there was one point, and I said, put that away. I just meant the idea. And there's a story about that. I don't know how much time we have, but.
How did that idea manifest, Billy? What did you say?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh,
He doesn't want to talk about it, bro? Why are we in this interview, bro?
I appreciated this is the wrong word, but there was a moment where he said that he did say he was in love with me, and it scared me. And
That was before anything physical between.
Wait, Yaya says this college thing she's pushing. He was still 12. He did some class at the college, wasn't actually in college. She just tried to make it seem like, oh, she's less of a horrendous person. That bitch almost got me. This white bitch almost got me. This white bitch almost got me. Oh, I almost fell for it, bitch.
Between you both? He said he was in love.
oh yeah,
Stephanie says she was released on probation, violated it by sleeping with him, and was sent back to prison. Fuck her, bitch. Fuck this bitch, bro.
yeah, like I don't know, yeah, like weeks, a month.
Should I turn on the things because they keep whispering their fuck because they're shameful.
Did it feel like love to you back then, Billy?
Yeah. I mean, for anyone, yeah. It's what you would, I don't know, for me, yeah.
She just said he's still my husband. So I wonder if it's in his head he knows he's filing for divorce soon, or if they filed for divorce but stayed together, because apparently she left him her stuff in the article that I read. So I'm just like so confused about like his energy. But I think even as a kid, I remember this from him, right? Like, am I wrong? Hasn't he always kind of been this personality? Right? Am I crazy?
I mean, for anybody, first time, figure out what love is for the first time, that's all you know. So for what
This woman is talking like her cancer is in her brain. It might be.
I would say that was real love.
I'm trying to take a couple of steps back to when you first made that brave decision to say something to Mary. Was it initially on a dare or, in front of your mates?
Yeah, it was actually, it started off that way with trying to get closer to her, but that was the reason.
Of which
And-
I knew nothing about.
Yeah, so that's how
Okay, she had bowel cancer. So, FYI.
her and I started talking, was because there was that bet. And then, later down the road in the relationship, kind of just, the bet just wasn't even.
According to Wikipedia, they were separated, but regardless of that, she left much of her estate to him.
It hadn't even crossed my mind anymore. So,
Like, we're looking at a dying woman, bro. She's gonna die. Chemotherapy fucks with your brain. It really does. Like, it really does. Yeah, that's true.
Wow.
Yeah, literally. Ania says literally just kids being kids, and she took a serious advance. That's the problem. The problem isn't kids being kids. The problem is adults who engage with children. The fault is never on the child for being a child. I think we all had teachers in school we thought we were hot, or we all had crushes that were older than us, or older siblings who had friends that were hot. It's not the fault of a child for having a crush. It's the fault of the adult for in having an interaction with that child, bro. Colleen says, Brittany, he filed for separation in 2017. This is I don't know how, like, this says it was filmed in 2018. So, but she referred to him as her husband in this interview already. So now I'm confused. Went back and tried to make it work, but divorced her in 2019. He stayed with friends until she died. Okay. Interesting. Ooh.
So
I wonder if the cancer was really hard too. I wonder if he left because she was sick. A lot of men leave their wives when they're sick, but a lot of women stay when their husbands are sick. Interesting, huh? Abba and Preach covered this. I thought it was very interesting.
one thing, and I think this is an answer to your question. It was, and I still think about this moment, and still, because I remember, well, I'm just saying, every time I think about this moment, you remember when you came to me to write, you said, wait, and this was when it was.
Oh, he's twitching, bro.
It was
He's twitching, bro. He's twitching.
very, very end of the school year. And I don't even think school was really, I think it was basically done. Things were closing up. But I was on my way out
What's worse, what Gypsy Rose's mom did to her or this? I'm just kidding. It's not good to compare suffering.
out the door, and he said, wait a minute. And he said, how old do you think you're going to be when you die? And I said, I was really excited because I'm going to talk about my grandmother, right? And I know I just said my mom's going to live till 100, but my grandmother, which is not even her mother, my father's mother, she really did live to 103. And so I was really excited because he had never asked about my grandmother or any, thing.
Oh, the 12-year-old didn't ask about your family history? Oh no, did the 12-year-old forget to ask you about your family history? Oh, did your boyfriend, your 12-year-old boyfriend, forget to ask you about your
Maybe beyond my parents. And I said, well, I'm going to at least be 100 because my
Nah, bitch, you gotta die at 58, bitch.
grandmother right now is 100. And I'm most like her. And I started talking about how she still teaches piano, and she was 100, right? And I was really excited inside that he was interested in, I don't know. I was excited to talk about my grandmother, and he cut me off, and he said, well, if you're going to be 100, then I'm going to be 80 because I'm not living another day in this world without you.
Bro, I should send this to Papa Gut because his reactions to this would be so funny. I just know it'd be comedic relief because this is rough. This is rough. This is rough. This is whoo, bro, this is rough.
And I just was like, I look.
It's a pretty romantic thing for a teenage boy to say.
I said, you just said that to me? But at the time, we were just close. And I was, a little tiny bit of me was like, you just cut me off. I was talking about my grandmother. And I mean, if someone asked you to talk about your grandmother, well, I guess you didn't really ask me. I thought it was an opening to talk about my grandmother, which I was proud to talk about.
If you extrapolate the age forward like that, it makes it sound better, right? But, back then, 34 and 13, did you have a sense that what you were doing wasn't right?
Hearing him say...
Putting the grandmother aside at just
80,
the age.
80 and 100. Well...
What about back then, though, 34 and 13?
I was just thinking about 80 and 100, if you want to know the truth.
No, a part of you was thinking about... part of you must have been thinking... by all accounts, everyone in Des Moines says you're one of the best teachers going around, a fierce intellect. You must have known such a smart woman that something wasn't right about what was going on at that age.
Well, just know that there wasn't any thought or any idea that something was going to happen. So no, there wasn't a thought there wasn't.
So he confessed his love to you. You guys are boyfriend, girlfriend, but there's no thought that something was going to happen? Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
Thought about, we were just, even when he said 80 and 100, I was just thinking, you're so right. I don't want to live another day without you either. No, it wasn't a thought of, oh, and we're going to have children, and there wasn't a thought like that. It was that type of a closeness that you're so right. I don't want to live another day without you either.
What's fascinating?
Man, the way people play games with themselves, bro. The way people play games with themselves, bro. Humans are so chef's kiss. We're so ooh.
Fascinating about your relationship is that it has endured. That separates it from anything else.
Yes, thank you. Who said that? Leo, at this point, something had already happened. Literally, girl, it happened already. We can't wait for something to happen. It already happened. It already happened. Let's just remind us that she was bragging about how an 8-year-old wanted to look up her skirt. It's already happened, girl. It's already happened.
Else that might go in what people would call teacher-student space. But I think what I'm trying to get at is a sense of back at the time, at its inception, before this had evolved into something like love. Wasn't this just a physical relationship between a woman and a man, or I should say at that point, a little boy?
Well, you shouldn't say a little boy.
He was 13.
I know, but you shouldn't say a little boy.
Well, a teenage boy.
So, well, you know, some people are incarcerated in this state at age 13. And
She's really trying me, bro. She's really trying me, bro. She's lucky she's already dead, bro. She's lucky she's already dead, bro.
and they're treated as an adult, and they're not called little boys, and they get a life sentence.
Yeah, and it's bullshit that children are being sentenced to life in prison. It's fucked that they're getting by their teachers. It's fucked either way, bro. Listen to her justification. So she's saying that they should be incarcerated at 13? No, it's fucked. It's fucked.
So when you put it in that perspective, so it's like, which angle do you want to come at?
I want to come at it from the angle. No, I'll tell you.
No, do you want to know, are you hearing what I'm saying?
I'm hearing what you're saying, but I
So
want to come at
then-
it from this angle. As a 34-year-old woman, did you have any philosophical problems, moral problems, with entertaining the idea of a relationship with a 13-year-old boy?
Well, I wasn't entertaining the idea, and that's my point.
But you clearly were.
Eventually.
Didn't she just say they were boyfriend and girlfriend, bro? Am I fucking getting gaslit?
Eventually, we both.
And did you have any pause at the time, thinking, Mary, stay away from him, this isn't right?
What I thought is, he doesn't understand that I have 4 children and I have responsibility.
What? 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 She has 4 kids. So she had 6 kids total when she died. She had 4 kids with her ex-husband and then 2 kids with him. She was a mother? Ooh. Fuck, this is fucked, bro.
That's the only thing. And you have to keep in mind that now it's,
Did her kids talk to her? Did they talk to her when she died? She says she was surrounded by family when she died. I wonder, oh, fuck, bro. Can you imagine this is your mom, bro? If this was my mom, I might lock her up, bro. But not in like, I would just like lock her up in my house and be like, you're not fucking leaving this house. You keep fucking doing shit. It's weird shit, bro. How could you let your mom just, oh, this is nuts, bro. Not that her kids are responsible for protecting her. She's crazy. But she's kind of crazy. I would get her evaluated and evaluated and evaluated. Like, Jesus Christ. Did she go to jail? She went to jail twice over fucking this kid after raping him. But Jesus fuck, bro. And she had 4 kids of her own. Wild, bro. So this woman gave birth to 6 children.
20 years ago, and sure in the last 10 years, all across the world, the laws have changed and and you'll even see.
Oh, she should be a red pillar, bro. She should be a red pillar, bro. She's about to bring in the laws have changed over time, bro. And I agree, bro. But by the time you did what you did, bro, it was illegal. As it should have been. Oh, she's bringing in the red pill argument. Oh, she should call Andrew Tate, bro. They should be best friends, bro. Oh, fuck. She's bringing in the, well, we used to be able to fuck kids, bro. It's true in Italy. I think you can kids as young as 13, bro. In Croatia, I think it's 14. Yeah, that's wild, bro. In the United States, you can get away with it too in different ways. Ooh.
Ever since Mary Letourneau, but see, that was 20 years ago. Now everybody has their eyes open and is aware. Surely, I hope every teacher, and forget about even the teacher part, I would hope that every adult that's a female, regardless of being a teacher, would know after my situation, pay attention, because there are laws. You might think when you're in a world, we were close, and no, we weren't thinking about those things. No, I wasn't. There were no laws back there were no situations
No,
and
there were laws. There were laws.
Is she like literally shouting out PDF files right now? She's like, hey girls, if you plan to rape a kid, just FYI. Is she literally shouting out her fellow rapists? And she's like, hey guys, if you want to rape anyone, just like FYI. Is she literally doing a shout out? Bro, not only that, but there was a law. He's about to tell her she went to prison for it. And also, didn't he, if he was in public school, he probably needed permission to just go on a field trip. You think he didn't need permission to be intimate with a teacher?
Laws, Mary.
Oh,
The law
no,
was
no, there weren't.
statutory rape.
For males. And if you look historically, it was a male only. And then the laws
Yeah, because sexism, bitch. Cool. Thank you for making us aware of sexism. What are we talking about here?
changed when equality. Let's go, Matt, on this. You want to? Because I'm ready.
Sure.
Okay, so the Equal Rights Amendments from state to state here in the United States, and it even happened over in Australia, New Zealand, and what's called the Equal Rights Amendment. And what they did is they gender neutraled the laws. Prior to that, it was male only. It was a male.
Yeah, because we're sexist. We think women can't fucking rape kids, bro. Congratulations. Congratulations. Cool. What is she trying to say? She's trying to say it wasn't rape because women weren't written into the law? That's what I mean. She has no problem kid, bro.
Male only, statutory rape. So when did somebody get on the news and say, hello, world, or hello, New Zealand, hello, or I don't know how you do your states over there, but if they're in states. Nobody did a press release here in the state of Washington or in California where I was from and said, we have now changed the laws. It is no longer gender specific, a male only. When I grew up, sure, as a teenager, I knew that, oh, if that male.
She might be nuts, Roller Spice. I think she might. She's obviously crazy. Look, I would have gotten her investigated. I think she would have been a great case to like examine and ask how she got here. But of course she's crazy. Like there's something crazy about her, obviously. Brittany, do you believe in hell? No, I do not. No, honestly, guys, do you want my most nuanced take? Humans are going to human. This is what humans do. Everything humans do is within their nature. From assault to this. This is a human. It could be someone you love. It could be yourself. She's not the only one. So which one? Who is it? Is it your lady who does the bakery down the road? Is it the kindergarten teacher currently teaching your kids? Who is it? Because she's not the only one. This is a human, and this is how she came out. This is her genetics. This is her upbringing. This is her predispositions. This is her. And I thank God every day I'm not her. But damn, every time you give birth to a kid, it could be one of her. And one of her category. That's what I mean. Yeah. Ooh, girl. Just remember, predators choose fields where they can be closest to their victims. So every time you praise somebody, okay, for being a teacher or taking care of children or thinking about children, remember one of them is like her.
The males knew because it was a well-known thing because a lot of dads out there were saying, stay away from the daughters here in this house because I'll get a shotgun out because you're older and I can go to the police and it would be called statutory rape. I don't care if you love my daughter.
Yeah, two teachers on my high school campus ended up going to prison for involving themselves with kids. Crazy, dude. Crazy.
You're 26, you're 30, whatever you are. And my daughter's only 16, 13, 15, whatever.
And you know what's worse? Is there's a whole group of men, and this is what I mean to say, men, get your shit together. The men in this bubble, there's a whole bubble of men that don't think male students can be by females. Get your shit fucking together. Get your shit fucking together. All those men should stay away from little boys. Because they are the men, like, who is that rapper? Who was the rapper that got his little boy raped by women so he could have sex for the first time with a hooker. Who was that? There was a rapper who paid hookers to sleep with his minor's child because he wanted him to have sex like a man. Who was that? Jail, prison, all of you, prison. That's what I mean. There's a whole bubble out there of men, toxic masculinity men, who think boys can't be raped by women and who pay for women to rape their sons because they think it's how you become a man, because they don't think of it as rape, because they're fucking dumb. Like, it's a whole fucking bubble. And I'm telling you, it's a real phenomenon in cultural, like, it's a cultural expectation of behavior. It's bullshit, bro. Bullshit. Protect little boys, especially from grown men that think they cannot be assaulted by women.
Very well known statutory rape was. It was very well known. It didn't matter if there was love. It didn't matter if it was consensual. And that word.
Bitch, she just likes little kids, bruh. She doesn't give a fuck, bro. She thinks the law is bullshit. Just say it. Just say you think the law is bullshit.
Statutory, meaning it doesn't matter if there's consent. Male only, and it's not until, and if you can look all across any kind of scholastic reading on this that goes historically, and my name will even be there, not until my situation in the law, the conflict in the law, did.
So are you saying there was confusion about the law at that time, or that you didn't understand
Nobody
the law?
knew it. Who knew it? Who knew it?
No. The data shows it's heavily genetic. Starvo says, I don't think it's genetic. Maybe it is, but it should. If it is, it should be in every human, but it's only manifests under specific conditions. No, science is showing it's a predisposition. Even the people who are catching child predators do think they're born that way. But some people, it can be conditioning, an environment, and a lack of education. So it depends on the case. For some people, it's how they're born. And for other people, it's conditioning. So it just depends. Nature versus nurture, it completely depends, right? And then depending on your take, you could say everything you do is like your biology. So everything you do is genetics. But I would that's the thing. Are you just lucky enough to be born one of the humans who isn't attracted to kids? Like, is that just like a genetic luck? Did we luck out? And then the ones who are they the ones who had like a mishap in their genetic code? Or were humans always with children for so long because it was a part of their genetics? Like, that's the question. And that is the argument she's making, by the way. She's justifying it because she's saying it's always been this way. Why are we pretending like it's not? This is a very difficult conversation to have because it's like, well, why is it happening? Now, ultimately, it doesn't matter. You can't harm kids. It doesn't matter. Like, we have to have conversations about harming kids and what people, but the problem is, like, what about all these cultures around the world that are like more villagey and tribally and like less modern? You know, how do we feel about those places? Do they have to adhere to the modern world? Because the modern world only feels this way because we've been questioning ourselves. You know what I mean? So do you think it's that? What do you think about Italy next door? Or even Croatia? Or what do you think about New Jersey, where the age of consent is 16? Like, it's happening in the United States right now. Is the United States modern enough to move past this? What about people that count down the days for 17-year-olds to be 18? What about people that are into 18-year-olds? Because, you know, there's something sussy about that as well. You know what I mean? I do think there's something really suspicious about that. I do.
But you knew,
No.
Mary, come on, you knew that it was not right, even if it wasn't black and
Maybe
white.
morally.
If you didn't have the
maybe
statutory
morally,
papers there,
morally.
you knew.
Morally, is that's what you're saying? Morally.
No.
So, okay, so she's saying personally, I don't think it's wrong that I raped a child. That's her moral. She's saying it's not wrong that I raped a child. That's what she's saying. That's what she fucking just said.
No, I'm saying morally and legally.
Not the legally part, no.
But you are such a smart person.
One, I'd never even been in a courtroom. Yes, I am a smart person, but I'm like hyper-focused in my areas.
So you're saying, Matt, I'm a smart person, I'm revered as a teacher, but I just didn't know it wasn't right as a 34-year-old to be with a 13-year-old? Sorry, I just didn't know.
Not in a criminal sense, but I thought, first of all, you just said teacher again. And
Well, you were his teacher in second grade.
once upon a time. Yeah, okay, you keep going back to that.
Not at the same, I'm not saying it happened then. I'm saying
Yeah.
at one point you were his teacher. Look, I'm not trying to get into semantics over that. I'm just trying to accept. In the end, you stood up in court and pleaded guilty to.
Now, okay, wait, good point. Who said that? I'm surprised she didn't divorce him and try to mess around with another kid. She might not be a PDF file. Fuck. I'm already demonetized. She might not be an actual PDF file, though I think she probably is, but she might not actually be one. And that's why I mean to say, like, there's a difference between a PDF file and a person who's a child predator because they're different. She might actually, it might be something more or less like that's what's interesting is like you can't know, but there's something about her that it could have been trauma that led her to justifying the affair and the love, blah, blah, blah. But then she stayed with him and had a family with him. So she might not be a PDF file because she wasn't attracted to his age, but she also didn't mind sleeping with somebody so young. So, you know what I mean? So maybe it's that. I just understood what PDF file means. It's for YouTube, so they don't demonetize you, but it's too late now. So it could be that. It could be that she's not actually one. And because she doesn't, yeah, I wonder why, because if she was a PDF file, they usually age out of being with their victims, don't they? I don't know. Do you guys know anything on this? I would have to look up research on PDF files. I don't know if I feel like I have heard this, like when the partner gets too old, but then maybe not. Maybe they do stay with their, and then I've heard that PDF files, because it's a predisposition, feel love for the children the same way that you and I would feel love for our partners, but not literally the same way. I mean, they romanticize it in their head as like the same desire and feeling to be with that person, even though they're a child. So we don't have enough data on this yet. Like we haven't even begun to research this in a real way because child predators come in all shapes and sizes, not just PDF files. It's really difficult. Like lots of gang culture is centered around abusing children or sex trafficking, but that doesn't mean that everyone is a PDF file. They're probably just abusers who don't give a fuck. But that's so different, right? So like it's a spectrum. Let's see. Stephanie says, I mean, she groomed him to stay mentally young. That does seem to be true. But I'm curious. But also he grew up in a really shit home. So that's the other thing. He grew up in a really shit home with a dad who got married 5 times with 18 kids. You know what I mean? Phoenix says what happened to her as a child? Plenty, probably. Catholic background, grew up in a Catholic church. She definitely fucking got touched. Like, she probably has a fucked up sexual history as a child. You know? Yippee says in this case, they built a whole romanticized love story around it. Yeah, which is gross. Pink says, makes me question my sexual history. I wonder how wrong the adults were in the situation because I was 16, but it was legal where I was. I feel like I can't blame them. Well, I think that's where the nuance comes in because, look, my grandma was married as a minor. My aunties were married as minors. And there was they all stayed married and loved their partners until the day they all died. They all had great kids. I love all my cousins and stuff. But it does make you wonder as you look at these cultural backgrounds. Like my family was in Iraq. It was pretty normal. Like it was pretty common. It wasn't great, but it was pretty common. And so I wouldn't say those people were PDF files. All those people all had like their periods. Like they were past puberty. And so it wasn't like prepubescent. PDF files are specifically prepubescent, guys. It's very important to know the difference. That's why I say she's also not a pedophile, even though she was kind of bragging that an 8-year-old found her attractive. She didn't engage with him till he was 13. So that could indicate something there. I'm being super nuanced here, by the way, because I'm actually interested in the exact why things happen. And I know it icks people out and they don't want to have the conversation because they don't give a fuck. And I understand. But there is like a lot of nuance and cultural differences here. And so again, I always wonder, like, how do we protect kids, you know, if the parents themselves, like in R. Kelly situation, are willing to sell their minor children to adults? Like R. Kelly, those parents did not give a fuck, bro, about their kids. Like parents are willing to sell their kids out. So it's like the people you think would protect their kids the most are the ones selling them out. And it's like, holy fuck. What do we do? Like, what do we do? How do we even start to protect kids? We start with our own. Discourse says he probably wanted security of a mom and she became that in his real life in a fucked up way. She's at least a hibophile. I agree with that. He obviously grew up in a fucked up home and was looking for love and comfort and some sort of parental figure, which again is why I'm hesitant about age gap relationships where the people are younger and the person is older. So let's say you got an 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23-year-old who didn't have a good relationship with parents or were parentified as younger people, are eager for some sort of like mentor, a person who's older, knows what they're doing. They end up with a partner who's 35, 45, 55, 65. They seem to have their shit together. They have financial security. They have a home. They have an education. They have, oh my God, like this whole stability they've always wanted. These people get with them. Then they grow out of it. They get help. They go to therapy. They realize, oh, I just got fucked over in childhood. I don't need a parent anymore. They look at their partner that they're with and realize like, oh my God, I married my partner because I wanted a parent. And then that begs the question of why did the partner who was older get with somebody so much younger? What was wrong with them? Maybe they're stunted. Maybe they're in their adolescence. Maybe they're 34, 55, 65. They can't find friends their own age. Maybe their friends are all younger. Maybe there's so many maybes that go into this. And I just want to know what's going on with everybody when we're making these decisions. You know, what is happening? What's the story? What's the reasoning? And I think in order to have that conversation, we have to be almost embarrassed sort of about recognizing like, oh my God, am I just with this person because of trauma? Or, oh my gosh, did I like fall in love with somebody because I was like coping? It's kind of embarrassing, but also it's not embarrassing, dude. Don't be embarrassed. But I could see why it's really hard because you think you're mature, you think you're old enough, you think you're reasonable, and then you end up in these situations and you're like, how did I end up here? And again, not everybody is like that, so I'm willing to like look at nuance. I'm willing to consider that people could have a different experience with this. I am absolutely open to it working for somebody in someone's bubble that you're 25 and you're with like a 60-year-old. Okay, maybe. But you know, it's a very specific kind of relationship. You feel me?
Two counts of
To
child rape.
to some elements.
2 counts of child rape.
Well, the only thing that title is a deterrent, and I'm glad it's there as a deterrent. Now I understand the laws in general.
Yeah, but I don't want to talk about the
title.
logistics of the law, Mary. I mean, you stood up and said, yes, I did it. I did something wrong.
No, I fit the elements that equal guilty to the elements, and we don't have to. If you really want to go into like the, let's see, where do we want to go on
I
this?
just want to see, I'm trying to get a sense of whether you think you did anything wrong.
At the time?
At the time and now.
Okay, I want you to also respect one thing. We're married. This is
I appreciate
my
that.
husband. Okay, so when you, and we're not, like, between us, we know what happened at the time, and it's entirely not appropriate to talk about, because we know.
We move on to
We
the next
know.
question.
No, I'll just.
But is
He says, can we move on to the next question? Ooh. Miss P said, you mean age gap relationships over 10 years, correct? I mean age gap relationships over 10 years and the person is younger than 30. So again, the person over 30, like you're an adult, figure it out. But like under 30 and you're in a huge age gap relationship, like 15, 20, 25, 30 years, I've got a lot of questions.
Isn't it a fair question? I'll ask you too, Villy, because I don't want to disrespect you guys.
I will say.
Is it a fair question to ask? Is it a fair question to ask you both whether you think at the time, Mary, you were doing anything wrong?
If you knew the personal situation with us, and on that side, I wanted everything to go away. I am like a big peacemaker, and I thought, you know what? We're not going to have this go into a trial because that's drama. That brings in my father. It brings in his family, and no matter what personally happened between us, that as far as those moments that changed everything. In those moments, we know. And the fact that I decided that I, as the adult, was good.
Her is the what? What'd she say, guys? I'm sorry. I must not have heard. I must be deaf and stupid. What did she say? Her is the adult?
Was going to make this go away, and we would all get on with our lives, and that I would get back, and not even get back, resume. Like, I got some responsibilities to some children, and and a marriage to resolve, and for the best of everybody, I said, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna stand up and this is gonna just, the least amount of drama, the least amount of harm.
Mary, I can't accept that. This goes to the heart of the whole story.
Let's go. Take her down, bitch. I'm glad she's dead, bitch. I'm glad this bitch dead, bitch. Also, she's obviously very traumatized, and I really hurt for her child self. That must have been very traumatized because she's obviously like an inner child screaming out. And for that child, I'm so sad for her. For the adult that fucked that 13-year-old, I'm glad she's dead, bitch.
For me, when you say the best for everybody, what I'm trying to ask is whether it was the best for Billy at the time. I mean, he was a 13-year-old boy, he had a big decision to make. Was it the best for everybody, Billy?
To continue it?
You're saying you made a big adult choice, Mary. And I'm not trying to turn this into an adversarial interview. I'm trying to say, when you say you made a big adult choice and made the decision that was best for everyone, was it best for Billy?
Oh, you mean,
To
should I
pursue
have?
this.
Okay, so should
I
I
want
have?
if you would
if
appreciate it, I just
had
want to let
said-
Billy speak. Can you
but
answer
if
that
I-
question, Billy?
Let's clarify the question, though.
You...
Should I have said not guilty and brought him to trial?
No. Should you have pursued the relationship at all? Should you have walked away?
You're presuming that I
Both of you. It's a question to
pursued
both
it.
of you.
Look, Cara says you don't always have to be nuanced. Bro, I'm trying, okay? I'm trying. Human's gonna human, bro. Ooh, human's gonna human. Damn.
With the adult, Mary.
Okay, but that doesn't mean the personality makes it
Okay.
so.
Here's
Yeah, I would love to hear from him.
a succinct way of saying it, and I appreciate this is a difficult discussion.
Yes, Egon, no one thinks of themselves as the villain. No one. And that's the problem. Mikey, you're going to have to suck it up and suffer with me because I'm doing my job here. Thank you guys for joining me on this because honestly, I couldn't watch this alone. Thank you for comforting me because honestly, this is fucking awful. But it's really nice to be here with you guys. 170 of you. That's awesome. I am dying inside. I want to just go. I want to stop, but I can't because he suffered through it. We just have to hear about it, okay? He suffered through it. We just have to hear about it, okay? I know it's tough.
Well, I think it's kind of disrespectful that we're married and you're going there.
No, because it's the inception. I just want to get that. I just want to deal with
Oh, it's disrespectful that they asked. Okay.
what happened at the time. I appreciate that you're married and this is an enduring relationship. I understand that. I'm not saying it was.
Do you think in his head he knows? I swear they must have got a divorce for looks or something. I don't know what it was because I'm confused. Like, did they get divorced right after this? This was filmed in 2018. I'm confused.
Wrong. I'm asking you.
Apparently they were separated when she died of cancer. She died of cancer, guys. So we know the villain dies. We're okay.
To answer the critics, okay, at the time. Billy, you're 13 years old. You're transported back. You can make the decision all over again to pursue this relationship. Do you do it?
Would I do it after knowing my kids now? I think there would be a lot of things that I probably would have changed.
Oh, so if you guys don't know, she was married, had 4 kids, had an affair with a former student she knew at 8 years old when he was 13, served her time, had a back and forth. They had 2 kids together when they got married. So they had, well, not exactly when they got married because like one of the kids came from when he was a minor. But they had 2 kids together. So his life shifted when he had kids, but hers didn't. But hers didn't. Damn.
I mean, I've looked at it. I spent a lot of time thinking about it. Like, if I was to pursue it, what would have happened? What ifs? And I really don't know. You know, I can't. There was a lot of complicity of emotions going on with the both of us, her and her personal life and my personal life. And I think a lot of those elements kind of brought us together to be where we are today. Was it right? Was it wrong? I don't know. All I know is that it happened, and everything that did happen, that we do speak of, that we felt within our hearts for each other, was real. But in the legal system and for the average normal it is obviously wrong. For many reasons. And I respect the law and the reasons for those laws. And from personal experience and from seeing other people go through it, it is what it is.
Would you say this story, your story, is almost an exception to the law because you fell in love? That makes it all okay?
I wouldn't say it's okay, but I think a lot of it could have been handled a different way. Could have been less stressful on the both of us. You know, when they found out about it, I mean, I'm pretty sure this type of stuff isn't new, and it's gone back ages. You know, but our story was the first one to be publicized, and
I can't imagine how tough it was to live through that for the both of you. The media storm, the court case. What was it like back then in the eye of the storm?
The media, the court. At that time, all I was thinking about through that entire time was how she was doing and was she okay? And would she be able to get back to her family, her kids? I never really thought about myself. I was more worried about what she was going to be doing, you know, or how she was doing. And I kind of felt like maybe they should have gave us a chance to talk things out, or at least work things out. They kind of just cut the contact, you know, between us. And I just think that wasn't right. I think they should.
Hold on.
Mary Kay Letourneau's ex-husband lost a piece of himself after her death, according to friends.
I just want to look at, they have some old footage of it. I just want to see their
That's
faces.
in a new interview with People magazine today. Letourneau was the former Burien teacher convicted of raping a student she later married. KIRO 7 morning anchor Tracy Leong looks back at her decades-long saga.
Letourneau gained national attention in 1996 for her sexual relationship with Burien student Vili Falau when she was a teacher and he was just 12 years old. KIRO 7 was the first to break the story. At the time, she was a married 34-year-old mother of 4. A tabloid fixture in the 90s, she defended the relationship as consensual, as did he. The 6th grader at Shorewood Elementary School claimed he was not a victim, that his love for his teacher would endure forever.
I didn't see no age when we were together. But when I thought about it, I could see the age, but the age didn't really matter because love is blind.
Letourneau was sent to prison for 7.5 years for child rape. Her sentencing was covered by journalists from all over the world.
I did something that I had no right to do.
Letourneau had 2 children fathered by Falau, and within a year after her release from prison, they got married in Woodinville in 2005.
Do you still love her? Yeah. Okay. And you want to spend the rest of your life with her? Yeah.
But those feelings apparently changed in 2017. Just before their 12-year anniversary, he filed for legal separation. The couple officially split last year, but it was Falau who gave her 24-hour care in the last month of her life. He was with her when she died fairly suddenly at her home late Monday at the age of 58. Tracy Leong, KIRO 7 News.
Should have at least maybe supervised visits or something to at least talk things out, or figure out what's going to go, you know, I mean, considering that she had given birth to my child, and it was a real struggle. I mean, there was a lot of things I didn't understand at that age. I didn't know anything about the law. I didn't know anything about raising a family. I didn't know anything about, all I knew was that I loved her. That was it. I didn't know anything. Like I said before, it's basically like anybody who's figuring out love for the first time, their first taste of it, you know, and that was me. And, you know, and then I just think I think a lot of cases just kind of get put into categories. And, they see the highlight of it, but they don't really look at the individuals a little more deeply. I think what happened with us was that, this was just huge. She's a beautiful sixth grade teacher, her background, where she comes from, where I come from. They figured, oh, this is a really great story. And they just ran with it. Was anybody...
That's true. The media did change some things to make it more salacious, but still, it's pretty fucking bad even without the salaciousness, Like, she wasn't technically his teacher at the time, but she used to be his teacher, and, I still think that's pretty bad. MC Bill says, do you think that he finally realized how fucked it was to do that to him, and that's part of the reason for their divorce? I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a legal issue. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, whatever the reason is, I wouldn't be surprised, right? Whoo.
Caring for her feelings or my feelings, no. Nobody really cared about that. And I think, and I'm not trying to play the victim here about any of it. I just think that it should have, there's a lot of things that could have happened, but they didn't. There's a lot of help that we both could have gotten that didn't happen.
Have you at any point, Billy, felt like a victim? People like to call you a victim.
Well, growing up, I've always had people telling me that's not really how I feel. That she made you feel that way. So I was always getting that. So now that I'm older and I've grown up and I've been through so many experiences, I know my feelings. I know who I am. I know who I am as a person. I know, and I love every little thing about me. And I wouldn't change who I am and all my experiences that I've come through in life that brought me here. I mean, it's been a ride for sure. And and I think there is always going to be critics, out there. A lot of people that just wouldn't understand. I mean, I for one can't, being 35 and looking back, like switching the roles. I mean, I for one couldn't do that. When I look at it, I mean, after even raising my own kids and looking back at it, I was like, I for sure couldn't do it.
What do you mean by couldn't do that?
I mean, just from knowing everything that I know now, I mean, I couldn't, I mean, even without knowing, and seeing a 13-year-old, now, me being 35, I couldn't like look at a girl that young romantically.
Is that hard to hear, Mary?
I don't relate that to our situation.
Bruh. Bruh. Okay, I want to say something. I know we all keep saying he is the victim, though. I want to allow him to have the relationship with that word that he thinks is reasonable. I think what's important here is her and her reaction to it. Again, there is a whole man bubble that exists in the world that does not think young boys can be raped by older women. So remember, the hot teacher trope that men brag about, like, how could you complain about having sex with a hot older teacher, bro? That exists. That exists, which I think is different than the bubbles that they're in. She's coming from a perspective where she doesn't think men love girls the way she loved him as a boy. Something crooked like that. He probably doesn't want to be seen as a victim because he probably doesn't want to make her the predator. But now that she's dead, I wonder if any of his narratives will switch in the next few years. Because again, I don't want to force him to be like, you're a victim, bro. I think that's really hard on people. But I will say that I wouldn't be surprised if one day he was able to say it out loud. You know what I mean? That's a really hard bubble pop, guys. It's an incredibly difficult bubble pop to look at yourself and say, like, because guys, if he processes that he's a victim, everything else in his life is like his children, who he's been as a father, like so many things have to follow that bubble pop. It's not going to be easy to say, I'm a victim. That is an incredibly difficult thing. How many of us don't tell people about our sexual assaults? Don't tell people that we're disabled. Don't want to say that we're neurodivergent. We can't even say out loud that we need help with medication, let alone that the whole life I've been living, the very famous life I've been living, the very public life that I've been living has all been different than the way that I've been perceiving it because I didn't want to face myself. It will be so difficult, you know? It will be very difficult. I wonder if his kids will understand, oh, his kids are a product of this, bro. His kids will have their own bubble pop in relation to it as well. I wonder how they feel about their mother and who their mother is. It's a lot of fucking realizations, you know what I mean?
But it's the exact same situation in reverse.
No, it isn't. That's no.
But
Things
it
that
is.
are not actually the same should not be treated as if they are. But that's that's from the United States Supreme Court, by the way.
I mean, it doesn't even cross my mind.
Two things. CA says earlier you said one of the kids was born when he was a minor, but actually both of them were. Okay, so noted. And then Justin says, what if he never claimed the victimhood? Does that mean he wasn't a victim? No. By the state and by the law, he's a victim whether he likes it or not. But whether or not in his own consciousness he has that relationship with himself, that's personal. Like, it's personal, right? So it doesn't mean that he's not a victim just because he says he's not. Like, that's not how things work, right? I think we can take it into consideration, but I don't think anyone in their right mind would allow a 13 or 12-year-old to make this decision in this particular way. You know, it's okay if, like, we can't force him to identify as a victim. Obviously, that's crazy. But it is the job of everyone around him to classify him that legally, because that's what's important for kids moving forward.
You know, I mean,
Guess what? It doesn't cross my mind, and it never did. So I would never.
What do you mean it never did? I mean, it did.
When I didn't pursue it, but stop, Matt, please. Please.
I mean, in her defense,
stop.
I mean, the entire time when the relationship.
I never pursued it. I never thought about it. And it's never crossed my mind in any. Of course, it's like, I'm not saying the reason there's a deterrent title like that is because maybe there are people that a male that might even consider it.
I would say there are people out there.
There might be, and
there are definitely. I mean, for us,
good reason. There's the law is
I
there.
mean, there could even
I'm right
be
with
a
it.
guy that's my age that finds a 13-year-old attractive, and that I don't know. Just for me, I couldn't do it.
I don't. And he.
What? I'm sorry, I was reading your comments. I have seen the movie Bad Bosses, and Jennifer Aniston absolutely rapes him.
I'm
Even
right
be
with
a
it.
guy that's my age that finds
Well, sexually assaults him.
a 13-year-old attractive, and that I don't know. Just for me, I couldn't do it.
I don't. And he doesn't. We're saying neither of us think that way. But
I think this is what I'm saying. I don't think she's a PDF file. I think she might have just been a child predator. Not that they're much different, but they are different. So maybe it's that. Like, I actually think she's saying she's not a PDF file, but she is a child predator, but she also won't own up to that either, which is probably good that she's not into more kids, but she was willing to forgo his age to be with him, even if he was a kid, and that's the problem, right?
we're both happy that there's such a law that's
But Mary,
there.
you see what I'm saying, and I'm not trying to cause an argument here. When you were 34, you did think that way, and you did do exactly that.
I was pursued, and I didn't think about
Bitch.
about it. I did not think about it. Didn't.
But that's not an excuse for any crime, is it? And I'm not saying
No,
this
it's
is.
not.
You can't just go, I didn't think about it, see you later, sorry.
No. Morally, I thought about, you know what? I'm not even technically single yet, and he's calling me his girlfriend. And I thought that was, it's like, this is not right. He needs to let me get on with my life, and I'll see you later. I'm not saying it in a cold way. It was breaking my heart to know there were two things. I wanted him to move on in his life and experience everything he needed to, all of his dying pledges of love. And I'm like, you got to go, you got to finish school, you got to do this. He was accepted into an art, one of the big art academies here already back then. And I wanted him to go experience life, and I wanted to raise my children. I didn't expect to get pregnant. Where we were at the time, whatever,
She didn't even use protection, bro.
Entirely in support of the laws that are there.
So you're saying it's night and day, for example, between what you did and the laws that would surround pedophilia.
I'm actually was entirely evaluated probably 3-4 times, and there's nothing, not a single trait of anything inside of me that's.
I believe that. I believe she's not a PDF file, but she is a child predator. You know what I mean? Like, I believe she's not a PDF file, because that's a very specific diagnosis. Doesn't change the fact that she's a child rapist, bro.
Pretty loud and clear in any
Pedophilia,
document.
that's like
That's a child.
that's
and
like a
he
mental
wasn't- yeah.
imbalance where somebody has like this, like their attraction, what
To
they're attracted to, it kind of stops.
To prepubescent.
No, a child under...
No, prepubescent.
Well, a child. A 13-year-old would qualify.
No, a 13-year-old wouldn't qualify. Damn it. This is where people don't understand definitions of words. A 13-year-old who's gone through puberty wouldn't qualify. It's prepubescent, so often under 12. That is this is like one of the problems. It's like people think like when we use words in like society, we think even I do this, we all do this, we use words wrong all the time. And PDF file is one of those words. Like, we think we know what it means, but like it means a very specific thing. And so like it does mean, but she is still a child predator.
Prepubescent.
Does that make a difference?
Okay, first let's go back. How many 13-year-olds are having sex with 13-year-olds? Plenty across the world, millions and billions.
Not a lot of them are having sex with 34-year-olds.
No, but are they having sex?
It's not relevant.
It is absolutely relevant. Are they having sex?
See, she's trying to make the argument that 13-year-olds are she's trying to make the argument that 13-year-olds can consent because they're not children. That's what she's trying to do. But I don't even know that she's attracted to teenagers because she had a husband and 4 kids, guys. She could just be a person who this was her one exception to child predator action. Like, you know what I mean? Just because you kill someone doesn't mean you're a murderer, right? Like, we're defining things very specifically. So I think, like, this might be her only exception of child attraction, which wouldn't make her anything other than an adult who chose to have sex with a child, which means she's a child predator at most. Right? Like, she can't be, because when we use the words, hebephile, use the right words. I don't know that she's a hebephile. I don't think she is. I don't know if she is a hebephile, right? I don't think that's the right terminology either. Am I crazy? Hold on. Hebephile refers to a sexual preference in pubescent children. No, she doesn't have a sexual preference. That's what I'm saying. She's not having a sexual preference towards a child. She chose this child. You know what I mean? She chose this specific child, but she doesn't have an attraction to children. She had an attraction to this child because she had a husband with 4 children. Like, she's attracted to adults as well. Versus these other definitions usually mean only that age group, right? That's why we're like defining the difference. Am I correct? Right? Like, I think it's important to know the differences because, again, I want to know the literal truth. Even if it's gross, I want to know how their brains work, right? So obviously it's wrong, but the category it belongs into, I think, changes. Predator does work better. Yeah, I think she's a predator because she predatorized this boy but I don't think she has a pathology, a specific attraction to a specific age group. You know what I mean?
I don't see it as
Are
being
they having
relevant.
sex? Are they having sex?
I'm certain that they are, but how does
Okay.
that relevant to this case?
They're not children. They're developed. They're not children having sex with children. They're teenagers. They're doing.
She's doing that thing. She's doing that thing. She's doing that thing where she thinks teenagers can consent.
Actually really, and
So-
scholastically and across the board with even in legislation, they recognize that 13-year-olds are going to have sex.
So should we rip up the laws and say it's a free-for-all, 13-year-olds with whoever they like?
No, because there are cases, and it's called strict liability. There are cases.
Wow, I'm glad she really knows the law, guys. You know what that's a sign of? Predator. Predators really try to learn the law sometimes. Sometimes.
Is where there could be abuse. There could be. So you have to have a law that acts as a deterrent, because there are people who might pursue and abuse a situation. But when 13-year-olds are with 15-year-olds, with 17-year-olds, with those really, when they're with, it's happening. We all know, everybody knows across the world it's happening. Teenagers, it's natural. There's no laws that are saying teenagers can't do that. They're going to. So you don't say, that pedophilia with pedophilia, that doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make sense. There are people that have disorders. The laws have to be there. They absolutely have to be there.
Do you agree, Billy?
Yeah. There are people out there. I mean, I've watched a documentary on pedophilia, or just because I was curious, because being in my situation, I was really curious about it.
As in whether you might have been a victim of pedophilia?
Yeah. So I was like curious to watch it and just listen to what some of these actual people that do have it, what they were talking about, and then these scientists were talking about like their brain. On how their attraction is almost like somebody with, I don't know how you call them. You wouldn't call them retards or mental.
Love that. Love that.
Mentally challenged. I don't know, what do you call them? But they're not fully grown. Like that part of their brain doesn't fully grow. But everything else is growing. Just not that part that they're attracted to. Like they could be your best friend, and in their mind, they're probably trying to figure out, why am I attracted to younger age range than.
It is interesting that they looked that up, and it's probably smart because it is definitely different. But damn, yeah, the justification's wild.
My own. Some of them are just kind of. It's like a disability. Is what you would say.
I can see you bristling at any mention of pedophilia in this discussion, Mary. I understand that. Are you saying, what you're saying is that this is a unique case? You've never been attracted to anyone else underage?
Okay.
Great question. Great question.
Let's just, I hope this is, I want this to be useful to your audience, and I don't think it should be confused and overglossing that term is specific, like as Billy was talking. It has nothing to do with me. One, because he wasn't prepubescent, he wasn't a child, and we have to.
Now she's going to qualify being a child is before puberty, which a lot of the world does, by the way. A lot of the world says after puberty, you're no longer a child. I personally disagree. I'm sure many of you disagree. 18 is an arbitrary number. We made it up, but at the same time, we got to put the line in the sand somewhere. I'm not upset about it. Could, maybe could be a little older, could be a little younger, probably older. But yeah, like I feel like if, like she's trying to make the argument that after puberty, you're an adult. I think she would get along with a lot of men that I read about and hear about. You know? I was almost going to say that I know, but I don't actually know people who want to like lower the consent law. So yeah, she's making that argument. You know? Ooh, Momo said I had puberty at 10. Lots of people get their periods way earlier or their puberty way earlier. So again, ugh, she's gross, bro.
We have to respect the intelligence of your audience.
No, but I've got to jump in on their behalf because when you say he wasn't a child, he was 13.
Stop. Okay, shall we go back to 13-year-olds who are having sex with 13-year-olds?
No. When you say he wasn't a child, that's the only part I'm grappling with.
Okay, if the two 13-year-old teenagers are having sex, do you want to say there's two children having sex? Is that what you would say?
Sure, but then I'd say it's infinitely worse if that 13-year-old has sex with an adult
It
woman.
is true, but we're not, let's not like stray away from, I want to entirely respect the intelligence of your audience.
This is another thing that predators do, or people that are just like so obviously wrong. They go, I just want to respect the intelligence of your audience. I just want to like, we're intelligent people here, you know? Which to be fair was a tactic he has used on her earlier, you know? Thomas says, I'm just not interested in the distinction. If it's pathological or non-pathological, I don't really care. It's rape. That is a mistake. I will tell everyone in my audience right now, that is a mistake. Because you will not understand why humans do anything or help victims if we don't know why it happened in the first place. If we want to help victims, we have to know why it's happening in the first place. And you have to consider how cultures around the world do legalize teenage consent, including America. So we have to put names on things that matter because we have to categorize society appropriately to protect victims, right? And we have to give people a real understanding of their own psychology. So I definitely think it matters. I think emotionally it makes sense to say it doesn't matter, but logically and within a framework of wanting to uplift society and protect children, we do need to know the differences between pathologies and anomalies and exceptions and culture. It's so important because it changes how we can help people. It changes how we help children in the future. And I think this is super, super important. But of course, I understand emotionally how it just like fucking doesn't matter, right? But I do think it matters. When it comes to actually protecting kids, I do think it matters. Because remember, when somebody in your family, and it's going to be somebody you know, if this is somebody you know and it happens, you have to know why they did it. Because for your own sake, it will give you peace. It will relieve you of being like, okay, I know why it happened. I know what's going on, right? It matters to the victims. It matters to the perpetrators. It matters to everybody involved. It matters to family members. It really helps you understand like, okay, how do we prevent this? How do we help with this? How do we because you're imagining it's a stranger. It's going to be somebody you know. It's probably not going to be a stranger. He knew her. She taught his siblings and him. The family knew her. She was not a stranger. It was not a stranger. This was not a stranger. This was somebody the family knew and trusted. This was a teacher they knew and trusted. People in the environment knew and trusted. So for me, I think it's really, really important to know the differences because also maybe science one day will really know how to tell if you're born with this predisposition and a more like they're pretty sure you are, but I want to know if they can find it out. So when maybe we can like test people, maybe we can talk about it. But of course, something's going to get fucky with that, right? They're probably going to like test it wrong the first few times and, diagnose the wrong people with it. But like PDF, all these predispositions, all these things that we're all genetic little bundles of cells that form like this little human. So count yourself lucky, okay, that you don't have it or that you're not attracted to or you're not willing to make that exception. But lots of men are more than willing to fuck kids. Lots of the men that you know right now are more than happy to fuck kids. 1 in 20 men in Australia would fuck kids or have fucked kids. So you're grossed out by this woman, start asking your guy friends how young they would fuck. Go ahead and face your friends right now and ask your male friends how young they would fuck a kid. Because I guarantee you, one of them would definitely fuck a high schooler and one of them might even fuck a middle schooler. Guaranteed. And they're probably not pedophiles. They're probably just regular old dudes.
I'm offended by the whole line of questioning because I don't I think on an intellectual level, I don't think you're giving, even to ask the question. I think you're misleading the audience to even, and all y'all, just look up the definition and then say, did he even ask the right question?
So why did you spend
Matt
7
even
years in
ask-
prison? Why did you spend?
For
Why,
rape.
why were you sent
We
to
could
prison?
talk for 4 hours and I would be happy to start. And any attorney out there, any legal authority will be right with me on this. It's called a strict liability law. If sexual intercourse happened, no matter if he was the aggressor, no matter if he initiated it, and being the younger.
There she goes again. Predators always do this. The kids convinced me to. They convinced me to. The way she looked, the way they all looked, bro. Literally.
I am the adult. Sexual intercourse happened. In our state, there are 3 elements. Sexual intercourse happened, the age difference, and third element, we were not married. What does that say right there? And
in the United States, you can marry minors and get away with it. Look at her. She's trying to get away with it.
we were not married. That means if we had been, in theory, if we had been married, no crime.
She sounds like a lot of men. She sounds like a lot of men that I see. Sounds like a lot of men that I have heard talk about girls, teenagers. These girls are grown. Have you seen them lately? They look like women. I wouldn't date a girl if she was over the age of 25. Cool. It wasn't legal. It wasn't illegal. It was legal, bro. It was legal, bro. Cool. Thomas, I appreciate your openness. You said, all right, this is making me uncomfortable as fuck, but it makes me realize I haven't really thought about any of this before. Good stuff. I hate it. Thanks. You're welcome. I know. I hate it too. It's fucking gross, bro.
I'm just saying.
But there's a reason that 13-year-olds don't marry 34-year-olds. It's just not right.
Oh, well, it happened in Virginia.
It does. It happens around the United States, and it's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. And there are people who do not want to take these like abilities away. Like, do you need parents' permission to marry that young? Often, but not always. Often, but not always.
Well,
legally.
So should it be a free-for-all across the states?
No, but it is. It's not entirely. I'm just saying it's a strict liability.
I think I heard this TikToker say men need the law to remind them not to fuck kids. I think some people, regardless of gender, men and women, need the law to tell them not to fuck kids. And that is true. And we have to accept that. We have to accept that there's a part of this population on this whole fucking planet from point A to point B all around who need the law to keep them from fucking kids, and even that won't stop them. And that's just the reality, bros. And we have to ask ourselves, here's a prescription you want to make for society. Do we want to be fucking kids? And I hope to God we all say no. But then we have to define kids, because plenty of people out here counting down to when you're 18. And that feels just as suspicious to me. It does. It feels just as suspicious to me. Absolutely. For someone to count down. If I catch anyone I know counting down for someone to turn 18, y'all need to go to therapy, bro.
But you keep going back to that part, and I went now. Strict liability law means if it happened. It means if, same thing as when an oil company accident, for whatever reason, spills oil into a river. Strict liability. It doesn't matter if it was negligence. It doesn't matter how it happened. It happened.
What I'm confused about...
So it just happened.
What I'm confused about, Mary, is whether or not you, in your mind, you think you did anything wrong, because you're throwing laws at me and consent and age and marriage.
You're giving your audience, you're throwing in these...
I feel like the audio is weird. Is it me? I feel like the audio is like doubling almost. Like, did it change for the videos? Hold on. I feel like it sounds weird.
Bandwagon terms, and I think it's confusing them.
Okay, can I put all those terms to one side? Did you do anything wrong?
I've always said, it was, should I have run from him? I did at one.
She's blaming him. That's fucked up. So not only has he not realized he's a victim, because he won't call himself a victim, but she's convinced him that, like, you seduced me. You made me do this. Look at what you made me do. Look at what you did to our life. I should have run from you. You made me do this. That's probably part of the complex of why he can't see himself as a victim, because she spent 20 something years convincing him that, like, you seduced me. Which, again, I've heard from a lot of people, a lot of predators, a lot of really sick fucks will literally be like, she seduced me. She was 17. She seduced me. She was 16. She seduced me. He was 15. He seduced me. And I'm like, okay, my bros, you're still at fault. You're the adult.
Point say you have to go. I did. I cried harder than, and I didn't know I was pregnant, but I did say, you have to go. Do you understand? You have to go. It was very hard.
I think legally it was wrong.
Well, we know legally it was wrong.
Okay.
We
And then
now know that.
Emotionally,
We
and,
now know that.
Emotionally, the connection that we felt for each other. Your answer would be yes or no.
I'm going to be the same as you. I would not take back anything. I'm going to say the same as you. And if I could do something different, one, I don't live a day like that. I do my best every single day. And I can look back and say, Mary, did you do your best every single day? And I'll say yes.
Uh-oh, white woman tears. White woman tears. White woman tears.
When you send
Every day.
When you send your children off now in the mornings, you say, I love you, do the right
Go
thing.
and do the right thing.
Did you do the right thing?
You know what? I'm not going to continue with you trying to have me answer that question. I told you I did my best every single day, and I lived my life that way, and I did. And in that situation, it doesn't even matter. I did my best. And even that I feel, even at the moment, do I wish I had a different attorney? That's the only thing I can tell you at this point. Should I have had a different attorney? And I say, yes. But at the time, did I make the best choice? He was my neighbor. Was he the best choice for an attorney in this situation? Heck no.
Do you think you were wrongly imprisoned?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because you don't know our story, but we do. We do.
You should never have gone to jail?
If you knew us,
you know, people really do tell themselves this narrative of, like, we are the exception. And I hear it a lot, especially in age gap relationships. PS, I hear it a lot. We're the exception. I can't even, it's like, look, don't you want to question why this is happening? I question everything I do because I know I'm so susceptible to my predispositions, my genetics, my trauma, my upbringing, my culture. But I think that's a part of the journey of introspection, is that I recognize that I could be wrong. And to recognize you could be wrong means you have to, like, double check against a sheet of values. But her values don't involve falling in love. She thinks, like, even if you fall in love, you should be with that person. Where I think even if you fall in love with someone, it doesn't mean you should be with them morally. But because she's contriving the story, oh, we were in love, so we had to be together. Even if you were in love, you should not have been together. But my values are different than hers, and I know they're subjective, right? I think we're all animals on a planet living in bubbles, like, through our perception of, understanding. So I'm saying, like, her bubble doesn't even give her a relationship with contemplating that this could be wrong because she doesn't think it's wrong. Just like a lot of, again, I'm so sorry, like, there's whole bubbles of men that don't think it's wrong for female teachers to sleep with their male students. They don't think it's wrong. They think it's, like, the dream. They think it's the dream. So how do you tell a whole bubble of people like, hey, it is not the dream to be raped by your teacher or an older adult woman, or it's not a dream? Because then they live with this idea that like they couldn't have been a victim because like look how cool it was, right? Because like that's what people are telling them, it's cool. But I can understand something happening in their brain where they felt connected, but they also like the red flag was like the fact that they felt like friends when she was in her mid-30s and he was 12. How are you friends with a 12-year-old? You know, like there's so many things that went wrong for this to happen. And it starts with the fact that she continued engaging with him inappropriately. Bullshit, bro. Bullshit.
And if you knew the intimacies, which guess what, are nobody's business now.
For the record, apparently, according to a Reddit article, after they got married, they sold their wedding tape. So I don't know if somebody wants to verify that from another source, but I'll look it up. But they're happy to do a bunch of interviews over the years. So
They don't belong. I wouldn't do that to our marriage. I wouldn't go back to that time and put it in a book. I wouldn't have a movie that tried to, the movie out there that is not true. The book out there is not true. Nothing that's ever, it's like, but
I've never heard you say that before. That
Which part?
You shouldn't have gone to prison.
I did the best that I felt at the time, the decision that I made. And I tried to take the guilty plea back when I realized I was tricked and coerced into it.
bitch, you fucked a kid, bitch. You raped a fucking kid, bitch. She doesn't feel fucking bad. She doesn't feel bad. She feels like it should have been legal. That's it. That's the end of the story. She's fucking not mad about it. Like, she's not mad about it. And that's it. There are plenty of adults in the world that are not mad about being with kids. And we need to have conversations about that. Because a lot of adults in the world do not think teenagers are children. They do not think, they blame the kids for seducing them. They blame the kids for lying about their age and pretending they're older. They like, oh, well, you know, she was 16 when I met her, but now that she's 18, I can be with her. And it's like, no, you still shouldn't be with her. Well, it's legal, isn't it? And it's like, even if it's legal, bro, you should consider not being with them. That's what's so fucked up. It's like, ultimately, that's what I'm saying. Like, whoo. Brech. Maiden says she infantilizes herself, which is probably something she was comfortable with as a woman. Certain bubbles are heavily infantilized. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Damn.
I tried to take it back, and it was a few weeks after. And I have said that before, and I think someone can watch some Larry King Live. The problem is that the programs are edited.
Yeah, I want to know that too, Miss Mortician. She never mentions the effects this had on her kids with her first husband. She had 4 kids with her first husband. I want to know how they feel about this. We'll try to find interviews after this.
Anything that we've done, they're edited. People, it's like things are taken out. Nobody wants to hear what really happened with why did I take that guilty plea, and the parts about our intimate relationship and what happened back then.
Well, I'm not asking you about that. I think you'll appreciate. And I'm not prosecuting the case.
No,
I'm not
but
saying
it's
you
like,
did something wrong.
Even to say to you, I just know that this whole thing, I just want to tie up and just really wrap up because I feel like it was left loose, is it's just absurd to think that 13-year-olds are not having sex and they're not pursuing it in a very deliberate, knowing way. It's absurd. Okay, so I just want to say that there are continual scholastic and legal dialogues, committees with psychologists, with legal authorities. They still, to this day,
slap them across their face and send them home to their mothers. If a 13-year-old hits on you, send them home to their mothers.
Are trying to do their best, combining like all of the layers of how do we manage this? We have to manage teenage pregnancy. How can we best do this? Should we put a strict liability law? Call it this big glaring word. Put the word rape there so that it at least takes some of the pressure. How can we go after all of it? Because it's rampant. How can we look like what Billy said? How can we look at we can't. The courts don't have time to look at, well, what were your feelings? What were your feelings? Well, did you do this or who did this? And the courts, nobody has the money for that. Strict liability, just no.
I accept it's not black and white. What about your position, Billy? Should Mary have been sent to prison?
I don't think so. I mean, that's from my point of view, from being on the inside and knowing a little more details about everything. You know, me living with, you know, knowing who she was.
How tough were those prison years for you when, I mean, you became a teenage father?
I went in a really deep depression during that time because of the no contact order, and I was just left by myself. So I went into a really deep depression, and I was getting into trouble, doing a lot of things I wasn't supposed to be doing things, anything that I could possibly get a laugh out of or have some sort of happiness feeling. So I was doing it all because I was really suffering inside.
How dark was it for you?
I would say it was pretty dark. There's a lot of people I meet now that, you know, they recognize me and they would tell me these stories of how I met them and what we did together. And I was like, wow. Like, I'm really sorry. I don't remember any of it.
Maybe that's a sign, bro, of trauma. Thomas says, Brittany, do you think she legit believes in what she says, or is it post-racialization? Yeah, I think it's hard to say because, again, I think she's obviously like super traumatized. I think there's something deeply wrong with her as a person. I think there's probably something deeply wrong with lots of people who end up with people significantly younger than them, depending on how young the young person is, obviously. So in this case, 12, 13, right? There's something like severely wrong with you. And I think that's probably where we could start is like, why would you end up in this situation? Though there's a lot of cultural explanations, a lot of arranged marriage explanations, a lot of financial explanations. In this particular case, they keep saying they were the exception because they connected so hard and they fell in love. But they would be the exact reason why this is totally unjustifiable. I could understand saying we live in a remote village in the mountains and the population is like 100 people and this is just how people figure to procreate, and there's like something there that I'm like, my brain can process as why humans as animals would like make that decision. But in this situation, this is like quote unquote a civilized person and like a society that's modern who like has an education and works at a school. Like you would think that she would come to a different conclusion, but then she's justifying it in a way that I think a lot of modern men do. And sort of, you know, whatever, you know, I'm trying to like figure it out. I think she believes what she says partially, but I think she feels a lot of shame. She feels like very ashamed of something, but I'm not sure what it is. You know? I'm not sure what it could be that she could be ashamed of. I mean, because she's saying it's not the fact that they fell in love. So what would be is it the fact that nobody accepts it? Is the fact that she had an affair? Is the fact that she left her children, or I guess didn't leave her children? Is it the fact that there's like so many things, right? Discord says incoming, grossest math I've ever had to type out. When she was 36, she had already had 4 kids. They may have been any age between the ages of 12 and 16ish. Then she met the 12-year-old Joe. 24 years after they met, he's 36 and she's 60. And they have 2 high school graduate kids, twins, 18, and slightly older, 20-ish eldest. Oh, graduate twins. Wait, that means Joe had his first kid at 16-ish and had twins at 18. Wait, do they have 3 kids together or 2 kids together? Wait, do they have twins who are both 18 and then one who's 20? Or is that the 4 kid? No, I'm very confused. At this point, the oldest of Gracie's previous kids could have been 20-ish themselves. Yeah, I think it's just wild. Like, I think... Yeah, I don't know. There's something obviously wrong with her. There's something obviously wrong with him. He just admitted to having memory blackouts. Hello?
Was it the weight of parenthood? Was it missing Mary while she was behind bars?
I believe he was missing Mary. It wasn't just simple as just missing her. It was more.
Remember, his dad's been married 5 times with 18 kids. He grew up in a really fucked up home. He had no parents that were watching him or cared about him, obviously.
Of not being able to talk anything through because I was getting told by a lot of people what I was feeling, what my feelings were.
See, that's fucked up. I would have asked. I will say I've worked really hard to be more nuanced and be like, what are you feeling? How's that like for you? Because I can tell this man has been told his whole life how he feels, and that's probably why he fucked an adult. That's what I'm saying. You drive your children into the arms of predators. That's why I say most parents don't deserve to be like parents. Most parents are not equipped to be parents. Most parents are the reason their children end up with predators. I'm dead fucking serious. In so many cases, it's neglect from the parents. The parents are not paying attention to them. Predators have been documented as saying they go after children whose parents are rarely in their lives or will not see a difference in their child's behavior. Like, you act like we haven't done research on this, or you act like these parents, it's usually someone you know. It's because you're not paying attention. And I'm not saying in all cases, obviously. Sometimes you can have the most perfect parents who are staying diligent and it can still happen. But in so many fucking cases, it's exactly like this. A child who's neglected at home, so they reach for an adult that will love them, and the child and the adult form a relationship. Obviously, that's horrible. And so I'm saying, like, all these parents, what about R. Kelly? All those girls, or not all those girls, a lot of those girls were given to him by the parents. Like, a lot of parents are willing to sell their kids out. Don't play with me right now, people. Don't play with me right now. So, like, listen to him talking. I would have loved to know his feelings. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? How can I help you? If he said I wanted to see her, honestly, I maybe would have let her see him or let them see each other, but with observation, like to be observed, like to give him some closure, to give him something. He obviously didn't get any support from anybody. And then he was made famous. Then he was interviewed. Then he was ostracized. Oh my God. All these things, bro. All these things.
And what she was to me, and I just knew the truth, of what it was between us. And
the only person who's willing to hear him out or show him love was her. Congratulations, society. You ostracized him even further. That's what I'm saying. That's why you have to ask, why is it happening? So the victims can also have an understanding of why it's wrong. Because if you just tell a victim, like, you're so gross, this is so wrong, you're so disgusting, they're going to internalize that. And the only person telling them they're not wrong, you're not gross, is the predator. Cool.
It was just really hard to convince anyone, I mean, I'm not saying that, relationships like that are okay. They're not. I would say in our situation and what happened between us, shouldn't have been anybody's business.
See, this is the part where they're both having cognitive dissonance.
It wasn't like she was out, looking out for young boys or anything like that. Yeah, what happened?
We just happened to meet. We just happened to run into each other.
Between us was just, it happened. I mean, I can't really say any negative, or I don't have any negative things to say about it.
It just is what it is. It just happened.
Yeah. I mean, when I think about it, I mean, it's almost like just any relationship that just happens. You could be working with somebody for years, and then one day, you're just like, wow, I'm in love with this person. And then you guys get together, and then people are sitting there questioning you, how did you guys fall in love? But the only thing is with people or normal age relationship like that is that they don't get asked, like, do you think it was wrong that you guys fell in love?
Well, to be fair, even if it was a person your age, if she was having an affair, it would have been wrong. Remember, this woman was married with 4 kids. So technically, if she was having an affair with somebody her age, it would have been like, hey, don't you guys think this is wrong? Because it's wrong to cheat. So not only did she cheat on her husband with a child, but she had 4 kids of her own at the time.
or anything like that. I would, and for our situation, you know, that's one of the things we suffer with in it, is being asked these questions, and which has become our life. So for me, I guess I just know how to answer it a little better. I feel better answering it because back then I didn't know how to answer it. But I guess, I don't know. I guess forever in my mind, it's always going to make sense more than it will the other person listening. So,
Do you both feel like you're soulmates?
soulmates can come, you know, anyone.
I don't really like that term.
Are you still in love?
I'll say yes. Whew. No, I think that
What?
marriage is there's a labor. I would say anyone that's married will know there's a labor of love. That term is there for a reason. So in love, I'm pretty,
Sometimes I think they're just coping so hard. You know what I mean? Like they're not in love. They're just staying together so everyone doesn't say, "See, I told you."
I'm pretty scientific.
I would say there's all, sorry, cutting you off, but
Oh.
I would say there's all kinds of different types of love. You know,
I mean, he cared for her as she died, which I think there was a love there. But I think he knows. Also, someone sent me an article, and it was an interview with the family, and at the end of it says the last line of the article, he says he was asked if he could give his 13-year-old any advice, and he said, "Don't do it." So I'm gonna say this is around the time they got separated, 3 years before she died, and I would say this is probably this is it. This is a part of that process of letting go. They're falling out of love, but that's what I'm trying to say, guys. Sometimes I'll have conversations with people, and they'll be very upset. Like, they'll be like, why do you talk about some relationships like they're not as like important as yours? And I was like, it's not that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the way you're in love is not the way that I'm in love. And they're like, what does that even mean? This is what I mean. The way I'm in love is not this. It's not this. And so you can sit here and tell me your relationship is the same, you're married, you care for each other, look how special our relationship is, but you're not in love the way I'm in love. And I know because of how you talk about your marriage. I know because of how you talk about your relationships. You can't be in love the way I'm in love because of the way you talk. You talk different. I'm not saying it's not valid. I'm not saying it's not your own version of love. I'm just saying when I hear couples talk and I go, I'm not doing the same thing you're doing. And I know because of the different ways I talk about the way that I love my partner. And that is what I'm looking for. The way they talk about love, no. Even if they tried to convince the world their love was the same as everyone else's, yeah, the couples who end up divorced.
There's people who, I've seen marriages where they make it work. They might have fallen out of love somewhere in the relationship, but they somehow just make it work for either it's for the kids or if it has to do with any personal issues that they're having, they make it work, and sometimes they fall back in love. Sometimes it doesn't work, and then there's just all, I don't know. I don't want to get into it because there's...
Well, I think that in love is actually, if you look scientifically into it, and they came out with some tests.
There'll be true romantics absolutely horrified about you bringing science into this.
I'm sorry. The science is that it equates to the same thing that in the brain, in love, and it only lasts for a little while. I think they say maybe 6 months or maybe a little bit longer, but it's no different how it activates the brain. And it's for a purpose. It acts like cocaine does. on the brain. Now, these are new tests. Look it up, everyone. I don't know. I can't name the scientist.
Love, the new cocaine.
I don't think it's real.
I think I know what test she's referring to, actually, which is kind of interesting. But I think I know what she's referring to, but why is she bringing it up?
Really new, but it actually activates the same part of the brain as is cocaine. So it's like being on a drug. And so it does eventually go away. It's supposed to, though. And it's supposed to bring people together. And so you have that nice high, and you don't notice anything.
So raping him was like a nice high? Is that what I'm hearing?
About the person. Except, no, everything is perfect, right?
I know
And
every relationship
everything is
in the
perfect.
whole wide world has
Everybody
challenges.
loves the in love.
I'm not asking.
right?
I'm not asking you whether you've had a flawless, perfect relationship, because I know that doesn't exist. I mean, I can't get near it.
Haven't you been in love before?
I have, and I've failed at
Do you
every
know-
attempt.
No, does it
I
last
have.
for about 6 months?
It lasts for a little bit longer than that.
Okay, a little bit longer, the in love.
But-
I just heard about these tests, and I was like, that's so true.
But can I ask you,
That
like,
in love,
is it
lasts
the idea?
for-
This is what I'm interested in: is whether you, Mary, you think you're almost in love with, and I don't mean this to sound disrespectful, the idea of being in love, in the sense that if you took love out of the equation, out of this equation, what are you left with? Is it bare criminality, or is it something else?
I love him more today than I did when I was in love and high on whatever drug that someone wants to. I love him more today. I hope everybody in marriage gets there. I hope they get past that place where you say, oh my gosh, I was in love with you once, but now I see all these things, and I don't know, I just,
Yo, after this interview, he fucking divorced her, bro. Maybe it was this talk. He's like, yo, you're not in love with me anymore? But like ultimately, like they have like a deep connection. And because of that connection, they have a love for each other. But they're not like, oh my God, I'm falling asleep here. It's 1 a.m. But they don't want to like be with each other, I guess.
when I made when I made his lunch the other day, and
It's funny
told
that
you about it before-
she
before
still
we
gets
met.
up. She still gets up at
Before
3
we met.
a.m. She gets up at 3 a.m. and makes your lunch. I find that incredible. I mean,
She's still awake.
well, the other night I was still awake, and I said, I don't want to get up at 6 when he does, so I'm going to make it first. Sometimes it's in the morning, but sometimes it will be, it just depends on my schedule the next day, but
can you give me a bit of a picture of husband and wife? I mean, what's he like as a husband?
oh, now.
Probably terrible.
God, this is rough, bro. Maddox says when your toxic auntie tries to convince you her marriage isn't a dumpster fire of a sham at the family reunion, literally.
It doesn't.
She's not going to say you're
doesn't-
terrible on
okay,
camera.
You know how he
Just
no,
listen closely
no,
to this bit.
listen. Do you know how when he said he loves every part of himself?
Yeah.
I do too, even the rotten parts.
What about as parents? I mean, you both seem to me, from a distance, to be absolutely sensational parents. Is Mary a good mother?
She's a really good mother. Yeah. I think I'm really grateful for a lot of the stuff that she's imprinted in the girls.
Like what?
Just the way, how they treat others, and with their respect for others and other people's things. And, yeah, pretty much that.
There's
Their
little.
morals of that stuff.
There's a lot of people, Villy, who wouldn't survive, the relationship wouldn't survive more than 7 years with one partner being in prison. Was it difficult to stay the course?
No. I I actually dated while she was in there. I wanted to live my life. I mean, there was no contact. There was a lot that I was going through.
Is that hard to hear, Mary?
Oh, that he dated?
Oh,
no.
We had an agreement.
I didn't even.
What was the agreement?
We did?
You were like, go.
Oh, I knew. He needed
So we had this agreement that she was going to be away for a long time, and I was going to be, not to wait, to just do whatever, whatever's meant to be is going to be.
It was kind of your youth.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
So-
always the intention that he would. But when I was there and you asked me, part of me wasn't believing, and I didn't mind if I felt so fulfilled, and I thought everybody in the world, if once in your life you have what we had back then, the union, no, I thought, I have it for a lifetime. And it didn't matter if we got back together that you did.
What does the future look like for the both of you? Where does the story of Mary and Billy end?
That Mary does her best every single day. And that's how the story ends.
And for Billy?
I'll go with that.
There's a lot of heartfelt emotion from people. Just, people that said they prayed for us all those years. And
Mary Kay Letourneau, the former Washington middle school teacher who made headlines for her sexual relationship with an underage student in 1997, has died. She was 58 years old.
Homeschool doesn't change the fact that family and friends are most likely to be the molesters. It's not public school. Sorry, Glow. Glow said take your kids out of public school. It doesn't matter. Your kids are going to be molested or raped by somebody they know, maybe even their own parents. It's not about homeschooling or not homeschooling. It's about who is the predator. Is it their father, their mother, their siblings, their cousins, their uncles, their aunties, their school teachers, their doctors, their priests? It's somebody you know. The question is, who is it?
Her attorney tells ET Mary was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer 6 months ago and spent the last month in hospice care.
Damn.
Quote, her death was fairly sudden. Most of the family, including Billy, were there with her. Billy was giving her 24-hour care for the last month of her life. Billy, of course, is Vili Fualaau, her ex. Mary's attorney added, quote, my hope is that she will be remembered for all the great things she did for everybody in her life, rather than the one mistake she made. In 1997, Mary pleaded guilty to 2 counts of second-degree child rape for her sexual relationship with Billy, who was, at the time, her 13-year-old student. She was sentenced to 7 years in prison, but still illegally continued her relationship with Billy, giving birth to 2 children with the minor by the time he was 15. The first child was born in 1997 while awaiting sentencing, the second in 1998 while she was in prison.
I think there were more people with us than the loud voices that were
No, bitch. No, bitch. No, bitch.
were having opinions that you're talking like right now that maybe misjudged.
Mary and Billy continued their relationship after she left prison in 2004. 1 year later, in 2005, they tied the knot.
She's done her time.
Mary's attorney confirms to ET that Billy filed for legal separation in 2017, and after several attempts at reconciliation, they finalized their separation in 2019.
Okay.
Her attorney explained, quote, they couldn't live together, but they always loved each other, and he came back at the end of her life to take care of her as a reflection of that love.
Mary, was it worth it?
I don't look at life that way. I do my best.
Dude, she's been doing the best line forever.
So if you asked me that question, did you do your best through every situation? There were I can say I did my best.
The adult.
You can say that.
I am saying that.
I was.
The adult.
You can say that.
I am saying that.
I was by age. I was by age.
And by
Let's just say
maturity.
that. You maybe.
You were a teacher, Mary. You
Doesn't
can't say I
matter.
was immature.
But you don't know him.
No, but I don't need to know him in this discussion. He's the child.
Who was
I'm
the
talking
boss?
about you.
Who was the boss?
What was that?
Who was the boss?
What?
Who was the boss back
You know,
then?
there was me pursuing you.
Who was the boss back then?
This is ridiculous.
No,
This
who
is
was?
ridiculous.
Who was? Just say.
Just say.
Who was the boss?
All I knew was what I knew back then.
But who was the boss?
He was 13, Mary.
But who was the boss?
This is getting weird.
Who was the boss? Who?
I'm pursuing the relationship.
Who was the boss?
Well, I was the pursuer.
Yes.
Mary, even as you're hearing this now, come on, he was 13.
Doesn't matter.
It absolutely matters.
Oh well, flaw me. Flaw me as an
As an adult?
yes, flaw me. I did the
Yeah.
best I could.
That's crazy. Yo, that whole like I did my best. Miss Fishy says, I'll be honest, she comes off as a covert narcissist. Bro, I'm hearing it. Plays the victim, makes it about her. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Ooh, girl, that's wild, girl. You're wild, girl. Ooh, why wasn't that in the interview? Why wasn't that in the interview? Right? Right? Did they cut that out of the interview? Oh, I'm exhausted. Oh, I'm exhausted. Oh my gosh. I am mentally drained. That was an insane story. I remember that story growing up. I remember my parents talking about it. Obviously, I'll say it again. There's a whole bubble out there, a whole cultural bubble that thinks boys cannot be raped by their teachers who are female. They can. It's real. You are victims. And if you're not ready to talk about a conversation where you're the victim, we can recontextualize this conversation as many times as we need. But we have to make sure that we recognize like there is a group of people that think like women can't rape men or boys, and it's not true. So obviously, like, good on the interviewer. He did so well. This story is so intense. Wishing the best to Vili and everybody else in his family. That's wild, bro. That's somebody's 6 kids have her as a mother. 6 children in the world have her as a mother. That's rough. Now, what I'm concerned about is what if this is your family, friend, somebody you know? What if somebody you know confesses to you like this is their interest? They're in love with a teenager. This isn't as uncommon around the world as we would think it is. But I think it's time to have like very hard conversations about reminding the people in our life that if they're not interested in people within a healthy age gap from them, they need to consider therapy or getting help or talking to a mentor. I think so many times we're so stunted and we don't even know it. So we think, yeah, I'm just like in my 20s. I'm just 17. I'm 16. I'm 15. I just need someone older and more mature than me. And then you get somebody who's like, I'm 36, but I still feel 15. I'm 45 and I still feel like I'm 25. Oh my gosh, I just feel so young for my age. I'm 65, but I still feel like I'm 19. And we need to have conversations about what that means in terms of your development. I think so much of what we do is an indicator of where we are. Remember, like one of the greatest tools, at least I gave myself, maybe it won't work for you, is if I find myself in a moment where I'm like, oh my God, my life is a mess. Remember that your life is the mess, which means you're the mess. Wait, why am I the mess? If you find your life to be in chaos, you can still be a victim and the reason your life is a mess. You can be both things. This woman could be a victim of something and still be the predator in the story, you know? And so I think it's important to say that Vili could have been a victim that consented in a way. I think it's really hard to have these conversations in a nuanced way because people want to ignore you if you're sort of a victim and you made decisions to put yourself in a situation. Not that Vili did, by the way. Not that Vili did. Vili did nothing wrong. He did not put himself in a situation. It doesn't matter that he was the pursuer. That's very common for teenagers to pursue older people. It is the most upstanding thing to deny those teenagers any access to adults, but that means the adult has to be the adult in that situation. I'm speaking about different situations where, let's say you're walking down the street late at night and you feel like I put myself in the situation. You're allowed to say, like, I shouldn't have done that, but also I'm still a victim. I think some people want to say that, oh, like, you weren't a victim if you put yourself there, but I think that's kind of like a silly way to look at it. But okay. So in this situation, Vili was the child. He was pursued by the adult. Whether or not she calls it a pursuit on his end, she should have ignored it. Again, I think it's really common. I think we've all been there. I know which teachers I crushed on in high school. So they were the adults who always knew that was normal. They wouldn't let it go anywhere else. I'm so lucky that I just had very good adults around me growing up. Because if I had a teacher like her, you know what I mean? And by the way, there were 2 teachers on my campus that ended up going to prison or serving time for doing stuff with kids. One of them was really fucked in the head and needed a lot of therapy. The second one was a full-on predator. He would have a camera in the classroom and he would look up girls' skirts and he would make friends with all the girls and he would like touch them all the time in school. Not me, because I was a drama kid. He only liked cheerleaders. He literally would love all the popular kids, and eventually he went to jail. He had like countless videotapes of the girls and all of these horrible things. And he was right there. And you know what's crazy? You guys know the story. Girls came to me in high school. They're like, Brittany, I want to report this teacher. And I was like, I'll take you, bro. I had 6 girls, guys. 6 girls waiting outside the lunch cafeteria for the principal's office. I was like, we're going to go to the principal with this. Because people tell me their shit, okay? Because they know I'm not going to judge them. Okay? I know you think I'm judgy on the internet, and I am judgy. But if you're a real victim of something, like, okay, like I will fucking do my best, okay? Not on the internet. I'm not your savior. But like in real life, if somebody comes to me, I will try my best. So these girls came to me. And I was waiting outside the principal's office, and then they all couldn't do it. They're like, no, I'm too scared. I was like, guys, I will help you. I couldn't go report him. I had no evidence. Obviously, I was never one of his victims. So it took 2 more years. I was graduated. I was out of high school. And finally, someone reported him, and he got convicted right away. But that sucked. That sucked knowing that there was definitely people. And you know, as a teenager, I don't know why I never thought to tell my parents. How weird is that? Why didn't I tell my parents? You know, maybe they could have done something. Maybe we could have made an anonymous call. But I'd never told anybody. I just, like, my girls knew and the girls told me. Maybe because the girls told me in confidence. Maybe that was why. I don't know what my thinking was as a teenager at the time. But I never told anybody else except the girls who were involved. So anyways, long story short, 2 years after I graduated high school, he was convicted. Boom, in prison. So that's good. But that sucked that 2 more years he predatorized other children. Just so shitty. Anyways. I know it's nuanced because outside of situations like this, it's also cultural. Like I said, I think Italy's age of consent is 14, New Jersey's is 16. Like the age of consent is different all over the world. And so we have to have those conversations as well. Why do adults find themselves dating just freshly 18-year-olds? Why are people, you know, so in love with the person they're willing to do, you know, what is this like narrative they tell themselves? I think Vili usually like literally use the word like words like love is blind. And like age doesn't matter type thing. And that is something that I think we should have conversations about, right? Ooh, hold up. Another video. This is Vili on Mary's final moments.
Weeks ago, news broke that Mary Kay Letourneau had died after a private battle with colon cancer. It was a shocking end to a life of a woman who first became a household name when she was caught with her 12-year-old student, Vili Fualaau, and eventually became pregnant by him. Despite spending years in prison, the two eventually married, and Vili was by Mary's side when she passed away. Today, in an Oz Show exclusive, Vili is here breaking his silence about Mary Kay Letourneau's final days and the surprising ups and downs in their life together. Mary Kay Letourneau's story shocked the nation in the late 90s. A 34-year-old married mother of 4, teaching the 6th grade, claiming she had a forbidden love with her 12-year-old student. Authorities caught Mary Kay and Vili Fualaau together in a vehicle in 1996. But it wasn't until police allegedly received a tip from her husband's relative that Mary Kay was arrested in March of 1997. She gave birth to their first daughter in May, right before pleading guilty to statutory rape for a reduced sentence. Mary Kay was released from jail after serving just 3 months. on the condition that she have no contact with Billy. But less than a month later, in February of '98, they were discovered together again. Mary Kay was sent to prison to serve the full 7-year term, giving birth to their second daughter behind bars. In August of 2004, Mary Kay was released from prison and again was required to have no contact with her former student. But Billy, then 21 years old, fought to have the order removed, and they were married in 2005. The couple stayed together until 2017, when Billy filed for a separation from Mary Kay. But when he found out she had colon cancer, Billy returned to Seattle to be her caregiver.
Wow.
Mary Kay Letourneau died on July 6th at the age of 58, with Billy and family by her side. Billy Fulao joins us now. You were living in California when you first learned that Mary had colon cancer, and I'm curious how she broke that news to you, because she must have known it would stun you.
I got a phone call. Actually, it was a text. She texted and told me that she was feeling a bit sick and that she wasn't sure what it was. And she told me some of her symptoms. And, you know, we made some guesses of what it was, and maybe she should see what her doctor says. And and then she finally got a colonoscopy, and they found that she had cancer and that it had already spread to her liver.
No audio now? Wait. Is it cutting off my stream? No. There should be audio. Maybe it's Miss P?
At the time. And
how'd you respond when you learned that news? What did you tell her? What did she tell you?
Well, I was in disbelief a lot, because I just wasn't, didn't want to believe it, and so I got on the plane, right away, and I went out there, and yeah.
What's the first thing you said to her when you finally saw her face to face and realized she had a really dangerous cancer?
Well, when I got back, she still looked pretty normal. Her health, she still looked
Yo, Dr. Oz looks wild, bro. I'm so sorry. He's just wild.
pretty healthy on the outside, but
How old is he, bro?
within the 6 months, it just, her health
Do you think it's kind of like a blessing that she passed on just to like free him, bro? I feel like she freed him. Like she gave him freedom by dying.
declined, rapidly within, in such a short period of time. It was really just unreal to see her that way.
Did she realize how big a deal this was when she was diagnosed?
She believed that a miracle was going to happen, and that somehow she was going to be healed, and it was going to go away.
Was Mary a difficult patient?
In terms of believing a miracle is going to happen without taking any serious aggressive action, that part made it difficult in those
Did she not get medication? Did she choose to die?
terms. But in the terms of it being, my wife and someone who's played a major role in my life, it's that was the most difficult part, because when we had first met, I was a lot younger. And
Can I ask a really weird question? This is so out of pocket. Do you think he has antisocial personality disorder? His monotone way of speaking is just so unique in a way. You know what I'm saying? What if he doesn't feel like a victim because he doesn't have any moral reason to think it's weird? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if he... You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe he is having an internalized processing with it where he didn't process any of his life like a typical child in that particular way. I wonder if it's possible. I don't know. He seems so something about his, you know what I mean? I don't know. I wish we knew if like he changed suddenly, because was he always this way as a child? Did he, not that it would matter, but I'm just wondering, you know what I mean? Gaming thinks it's shallow effect, which is the result of trauma. I mean, yeah, I definitely think it could also just be a result of that.
And she was, she was ripped out of my life at that time. And
Oh, gaming says I have this. Oh, interesting. Yeah, it says the way he talked when he was younger wasn't like this. I think it's the way she stunted him. Oh, that's true. He was a little bit more lively as a kid. Okay, okay. Yeah. I agree. Never mind. Scratch that. My philosophy Discord says no, I don't see it. Okay, never mind. No, I'm wrong.
And so, this time it's, there's not going to be another letter and there's not going to be a phone call.
Oh, he's sad. No, I'm sad.
Or a text. So I think preparing myself mentally for that was the hardest part, and still to this day, everything feels really unreal right now.
Did you talk to her about being without her, being alone?
We've talked about her passing. If she was to pass, there's certain things that we need to get in place. But it was a subject she didn't want to talk about. She didn't want to have her mind in that, thought of her dying was just unbelievable for her.
I know towards the end of any critical illness like this, there are ups and downs. I understand that she was in the ER weeks before she passed away. What had happened? What took her there?
She had fallen, and she had broken her arm, and so we had to take her in, and they did a CT scan on her, and they found that the cancer had spread, to her spine and to.
Isn't colon cancer the one that's up in young people under 35? Should we be getting colonoscopies? That sounds expensive.
Her brain, and they had told us that there wasn't much that they could do at this point. And so the very last weeks of her life, she started to realize that she was, was going to go. And it was a difficult thing for all of us, her family, my family, to accept.
Did she give you any advice at the end before she passed?
Ew, why do they keep showing this photo? Gross.
She played the role of giving me advice. I think it was more of a natural, like a relationship with two people would have in an intimate way where, you become best friends, and she was my best friend, and I felt like, she was actually the only person that actually cared, considering, my upbringing and her upbringing, a lot of things, just made sense for the both of us in the way things happened.
Next, Billy describes his last moment with Mary Kay Letourneau. We're back with Vili Fualaau, who was mourning the loss of his wife, Mary Kay Letourneau. So, what's the last thing she told you?
The last thing she told me is that that I am the most important person to her, and that everything is going to be okay.
Is everything going to be okay?
I don't know.
That was more sparkle in his eye that I've seen this whole 5 billion hours we've been watching this. That is more life in his eyes that I have seen this whole time.
I don't know. I don't know.
So Mary Kay Letourneau passed away on July 6th at the age of 58. What was that last day like?
The last day, sorry.
I know we're crying over his rapist, but I'm so sad for him. I know, fuck her, but like,
Not trying.
It's okay.
Yeah. The last day.
Oh.
I think that the last day was sort of a sense of relief that she wasn't in pain anymore. But also really devastating. Because the reality is, you know, you're not gonna see the person that, you know, has been there for you the most.
Damn, Bryson, you just said it so good. It sounds like his rapist was the only person who ever made him feel cared about. That is a fucked up childhood, bro. That is a fucked up childhood. The only person who ever made this man feel seen was his rapist, bro. That's wild, bro.
Were you alone with her?
I wasn't. I was there. I was there with our youngest daughter and her youngest daughter from her previous marriage.
Oh, wow.
And we were just talking about when they were kids, and we were laughing. And I turned over, and you know, and she. Well, I didn't see her chest moving, and I thought maybe it was like one of those pauses she has, and then she'll come back. You know, she'll take a deep breath, and she's going to come back, and you know, I would count in between those pauses, and it was just the longest count that I had. And I had turned off her breathing machine, just to hear if she was like breathing just really soft. And at that moment, I had to, you know, tell the kids that they need to call the rest of the siblings to come and say their goodbyes. That this is it.
You miss her?
I do.
The Village launched a GoFundMe page to help raise money for you, for your daughters, as you cope with the aftermath of Mary's death. And we're going to have a link to it at droz.com. Please consider his request. How are your daughters doing with the loss of their mom?
You know, I can only tell you from what I see, you know, and I see that they are, when we talk to each other, they're coping pretty well in the way that they are. I couldn't speak for them entirely because they are their own person, but I would say that they're coping pretty well. I would say they're doing a lot better coping with it than I am.
Man, this is sad, bro. This is a devastating life, bro. Literally, watch your kids, bro. Protect your kids. So, I'm trying to figure out, what does he do for a living? I could be wrong, But I wonder if he's like even has a job. It says he's a disc jockey, like a DJ. It says he's a DJ. Does he have an Instagram? This is so devastating, bro. He has an Instagram, but the account's private. So, okay, he's not really like a public figure. Man, what a life. Wow. I wonder what would have been of like what he would have made out of his life if she didn't come, like if they didn't engage, if she didn't like groom him. Fuck, I'm so tired. I don't even know. Oh, damn, that's crazy. Any final thoughts? I feel wiped. My spoons are gone. Wow, people really have lives. What a life. My life is, I'm just, that's devastating. The only person who ever made him feel seen was his rapist. I just can't. Fuck, that sucks.
Stuck in my head, in real life while in bed, my belly's being fed and I'm okay. I'm just fine, yet all I do is whine. Not to you in my mind, cause I know I don't make sense. I've been nothing but blessed, so why's my life a mess? Please tell me, cause I'm sick of thinking, yeah, I'm sick of reaching out for the truth and living life as a fool. Dun, da, 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 da,